Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, wherever you're at in the world. Welcome to Last Rouse Baseball's live commentary of the DuPont Professional Baseball League. Tonight, we're going to bring you some rare Tuesday afternoon baseball from the Escon Field in Hokkaido between the Fighters and the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles. Fighters are trying to chase down the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks for the first spot in the Pacific League. And the Eagles are fighting for their playoff lives as they find themselves trailing the Oryx Buffaloes with not too many games left to play. It is Eagles and Fighters tonight. We're going to give you the starting lineup, first of all, for the visitors from Tohoku. Leading off tonight, and in center field is number 32, Daisuke Nakashima. Batting second at third base is number 6, Tsuki Muribayashi. Hitting third at second base is number 24, Fumiya Kurakawa. And the cleanup spot is the American, number 9, Luke Voigt. Batting in the fifth spot at first base is number 3, Hideto Asamura. Batting sixth, the shortstop, number 1, Rui Muniyama. Batting seventh in left field is number 7, Daichi Suzuki. Hitting in the eighth spot and doing the catching is number 2, Hikaru Oda. And batting ninth and in right field is number 50, Itsuki Muto. And they're going to be facing the Taiwanese starter for the Fighters. It's going to be Sun-Yi Lai. He takes to a hill with a record of 0-1. He's worked 10 in the third innings. He's allowed 9 hits, 4 runs, all been earned, walking 4 and striking out 7 and pitching to a 3.48 ERA. The starting lineup now for the visitors, or for the home team, the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters. Leading off in right field is number 53, Shin Mizutani. Batting second at second base is number 38, Kazunori Ishii. Hitting third and doing the designated hitting is number 99, Franmil Reyes. And the cleanup spot and playing third base is number 30, Yuya Gunji. Batting in the fifth spot at first base is number 21, Kotaro Kiyomiya. Hitting sixth in center field is number 5, Yuki Nomura. Hitting in the seventh spot and in center field is number 50, Ryota Isobata. Batting in the eighth spot at shortstop is number 43, Tatsuki Mizuno. And batting ninth and doing the catching is number 64, Yua Tamiya. And they're going to be facing the American Spencer Howard, who takes to the hill a perfect 4-0 record this year. He's worked only 39 innings, allowing 37 hits. He's given up 10 runs, 9 have been earned, walking 8 and striking out 30 while pitching to a 2.08 ERA. The big dog's in the house. Travis Helms in the house. And we will be back in just a couple moments with all the action. It is Eagles and Fighters when we return after this musical timeout. Welcome back, everybody. It is Sun-Yi Lai who is completing his tune-up tosses for the Fighters, and we are about ready to get this one underway. It'll be the top of the order to come to bat in inning number 1 for the Eagles. And we're looking at Daisuke Nakashima, Itsuki Muribayashi, and Fumiya Kurakawa to get things going here for the Eagles. If you look at this Eagles lineup compared to a couple of years ago, there are a lot of new faces, a lot of new names. There are some holdovers, of course. Hideto Asamura still getting the nod to play first. Daichi Suzuki, who has been in the lineup normally at first or third, is getting the nod in left field tonight, and in Hikaru Oda behind the plate. And then, of course, the third baseman, Itsuki Moribayashi, who was the shortstop a year ago and has been around for a little bit, is getting the nod at third base tonight. But a lot of new faces in the Eagles lineup, as it is probably a changing of the guard for the future. So leading it off here is Nakashima. Is hitting .281 on the year, 6 homers and 29 RBIs, and he takes a first pitch fastball over for a called strike, and we are underway. No balls and 1 strike it is. Right-hander Sun delivers, and it's a fastball. It's taken on the inside corner, and the count goes to 0-2. Big Dog says that Spencer Howard, Phillies legend. What could have been? What could have been with Spencer Howard? And our friend Harrison in the house, who's got a math class. There's a fastball swung on. This ball is lifted in deep left center field. This is going to be trouble. It's going to get down over the head of the left fielder, Namura, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. It's going to be picked up by Isabata. He fires it in, and just like that, Nakashima has himself a leadoff double for the Eagles to get the ball game rolling here at the top of the first inning. So Nakashima aboard with a double, and that's going to bring the third baseman Itsuki Moribayashi to the plate. It was a four-seam fastball that he left up in the zone, did lie. And a little bit of arm side run to it. A good piece of hitting there by Nakashima to go the other way with it. So that is going to bring up the third baseman, Moribayashi. Moribayashi on the season hitting .293, 3 homers and 49 runs driven in. As the pitch is on the way, it's a fastball swung on. This ball is lined the other way. This ball could be trouble. It's going to be hauled in on the right field, close to the foul line by the right fielder Mizutani, and tagging at second and heading to third will be Nakashima. And so the balls are flying around here off the bats of the Eagles players, as Sun Yi Lai has had a allowed double and now allowed out to right field. So that moves the runner over to third. And that is going to bring up the second baseman in Fumiya Kurakawa. Harrison says that sources tell him Bauer will be back on the roster. I heard, and actually, I shouldn't say I heard, I saw that there were reports coming out of Japan. I haven't been able to fact check them or fact check myself. One of the reasons why he was dropped off the roster for quite a bit of time is I guess he had a dust up with one of the coaches. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball that misses up and in to Kurakawa. The count is 1-0. Kurakawa hitting .293 with 3 homers and 30 runs batted in. I would probably say if that were true, it wouldn't be surprising. That's assuming it's true. I don't know. It has to say, I have to fact check the article on that. There's a split finger pitch that is swung on and missed, and the count runs even to 1-1 on Kurakawa. Harrison says his buddy works with the Bay Stars pitching lab. There you go. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. There's a fastball that swung on, and this is lifted foul over on the third base side of home plate. The count goes to 1-2 on Kurakawa. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. I'll say this, that unfortunately, Bauer's a competitive and fiery guy. But I think sometimes, too, is that you need to have somebody who's going to be able to rein him in. As there's a breaking ball swung on and lifted foul over on the third base side of home plate. Sometimes the players need to be protected of themselves. So 1 ball and 2 strikes it is. As the right-hander works himself to the set position, here comes the pitch. And there is a split finger pitch swung on, and it is lifted foul into the seats. It's going to keep the count at 1-2. So you would have saw our tweet at that time. I think we had projected Bauer a couple of weeks out on that. We had information that he was agreeing to a deal. I just didn't have him in Yokohama at the time. We knew he was negotiating. Obviously, there's 12 teams, and you can kind of rule out certain teams. Yokohama has the money to sign him. Fastball swung on, that's lifted foul. down the third base line, and the count remains at 1-2 to Kurakawa. I couldn't decide earlier what game that we might want to call tonight. This game here looked like it might have had the most importance. Eagles clinging to their playoff lives. Fighters trying to hunt down that top spot as there's a fastball swung on and fouled away. Count remains at 1-2 to Kurakawa. Infield is in here for the Fighters as they're going to try to gun down the run at the plate. A little surprised that the outfield is as deep as they are. As the right-hander works to the set, now delivers. There's a breaking ball swung on and fouled off right at the plate. This is now starting to turn into a battle here against Kurakawa. So 1-2 strikes it remains as the left-handed hitting Eagles third baseman steps in. I used to be able to get a lot more information once upon a time. We had a contact in the Boris organization, but I was on the different sport. They do carry more than just baseball. There's a breaking ball that misses outside. The count goes to 2-2. But we used to get the baseball heads up from the fellas who were involved in the other sport about the baseball side of things. I have to tell you, the Boris organization, Scott Boris and his group over there, very powerful group of agents. There's a fastball that misses inside. It's now 3-2 to Kurakawa. Lots of muscles to be flexed in that organization. I think of a long time years ago, the football agent that was huge was Lee Steinberg. And he basically played himself out of the agent game, unfortunately for him. There's a fastball swung on. This ball is lifted into deep right field. This ball could be trouble. Back onto the warning track and looking up, and this one's gone into the bullpen. And Kurakawa, who had himself an 11-pitch at bat, really worked Sun over, and he's got himself a home run, which is going to be his 4th of the year. Nakashima will score in front of him, and it's going to give the Eagles an early 2-0 lead over the Fighters. So 2 RBIs here for Kurakawa. He took the pitcher Yi Lai, I should say, to 11 pitches in that at bat. That's going to bring up the American Luke Voigt. So if you just jumped in here with us, 2-0 Eagle lead here in the top of the first inning with 1 gone. And the first pitch coming to the slim-looking Luke Voigt is a fastball that misses up, and the count is 1-0. I got to tell you, Luke Voigt, talked before about the past when import players go over into Japan, they got to get out and produce straight away as that split finger pitch misses down. They appeal over to the first base umpire. We didn't get the call on that. We'll get you the verification on that. They said it was a ball indeed. So 2-0. Voigt hitting 287 with those 13 homers and 34 RBIs. Fastball swung on and lifted foul, and the count now goes to 2-1. But what I was getting at with Voigt is he has come in and absolutely pounded his fist on the table, and he's been outstanding. And that's what you need to do. When you come into a new team and you're a foreigner, you have to come in immediately and make an impact. Split finger pitch swung on and missed, and the count now goes to 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, the right-hander ready to go. Kicks and fires. Breaking ball comes inside and almost hits Voigt. As he turns, the count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes. Sun Yi Lee getting the start on the mound tonight. Here comes the pitch. Fastball taken at the knees for a called third strike, and Voigt knew it as he does a 180 and heads back to the dugout. He's gone for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up the first baseman in Hideto Asamura. I was saying about the instant impact that the players have to make. When you're an import player, you got to be better than what they have, and you got to perform better than what they have. And certainly Luke Voigt As we said, this year in his, I would say, short time, he's been with them for a third of the season, has been absolutely impactful for the Eagles as that fastball is taken at the knees for a called strike. Counts 0-1 to Asamura. Fastball misses outside. Count goes even at 1-1. Asamura hitting .241 on the year, 8 homers and 30 RBIs. I got to tell you, I think Asamura, as far as I'm concerned, is in the twilight of his baseball career in Japan. Fastball misses down. It's now 2-1. Long-time second baseman. They moved him over to third. He's now getting some time at first base. Swings through a split finger pitch, and the count now goes to 2-2. Asamura, we are watching a player in the twilight of his career. His game, in a lot of ways, has fallen off fast, as he's not reached the mid-30s quite yet. As that changeup misses down, it's now 3-2 to Asamura. Harrison says he thinks he's only going to be here for one inning. Wow, that's better than nothing. There's a fastball taken for a called third strike. Asamura's gone on strikes. He's out for out number 3, and that's going to do it here for the Eagles. But damage done here in the top of the first. A 2-run homer off the bat of Fumiya Kurikawa has given the Eagles an early 2-0 lead. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, nobody left the board. Your score as we move to the bottom of the first. Eagles 2, Fighters coming to bat. Stick around, everybody. We'll be back with the call at the bottom of the first inning and just a little bit after this musical timeout. While you're with us tonight, so too will be our friend Steve Rademacher. Check him out after the ball game is done. Let him know that Last Rouse Baseball sent you. I got some wild and crazy stuff on the channel.
This is Steve Rademacher, and I'd like to introduce you to my channel if you haven't seen it before. These are all the things I enjoy: sports, autographs, relics, non-sports Hall of Famers, pseudo-sports, Star Wars. That's my channel name and my name. And I would really appreciate it if you would come check me out and maybe even subscribe if you like it. Thank you for that for now, and back to your ball game.
Welcome back, everybody. It is going to be Spencer Howard who is taking to the hill here for the Eagles in this one. The one-time second-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies back in the 2017 draft from California Poly State University, Cal Poly. As he is going to be on the hill. He had spent parts of seasons with the Phillies, the Rangers, San Francisco, and Cleveland. A 4-13 career big leaguer as he delivers a first pitch fastball that misses upstairs to Mizutani. Count is 1-0. Mizutani hitting .276, 12 homers and 41 runs driven in. There's lots of hope. Certainly for Howard at the big league level. There's a fastball that swung on and it's lifted foul into the seats down the first base line, and the count goes to 1-1 on Mizutani. Obviously, they liked him enough to keep around. He's only 28 years old. And I would have to think that if I was a betting person, which we do sometimes, but not very often, I would say that Howard is going to try to use Japan as a way to bounce himself back to North America. There's a fastball swung on it, is lifted into deep left field, but not deep enough. Camping out underneath it is Suzuki, and he's there to make the catch. And Mizutani is going to be retired for the first out of the innings. So 1 up and 1 away. That'll bring Kazunori Ishii to the plate. And for Ishii, well, he's hitting .257 on the year. He's got 6 homers and 29 runs batted in. As I said about Howard, I would think that he is probably going to try to use this as a springboard back to Major League Baseball. I don't know if he's done enough this year because he has not had a ton of innings and a lot of action, as there's a fastball taken for a called strike. The count's 0-1 to Ishii. Ishii batting from the left side here against the right-handed throwing Howard. I think if I was a major league team, I'd want to see some healthy starts from the right-hander here. There's a fastball that misses outside. The count's 1-1. So 1 ball and 1 strike. They list Howard, or at least as a 6'3", 210-pound righty, but I have to say, I don't know if he looks as big as they're listing, as that breaking ball misses outside. It's now 2-1. The 29-year-old, who has that 4-0 record, only 39 innings under his belt for the Eagles this year so far. Pitch on the way. It's a fastball swung on. It is popped up into shallow center field. Backing up underneath it is the shortstop. And making the catch is Muniyama, and that's going to retire Ishii for the second out of the inning. So 2 gone here, and it's going to leave it all up to the Franmil, Franmil Reyes. Well, for Reyes, enjoying yet another fine season, his second in the NPB, hitting .282 on the year with 32 homers and 87 runs driven in. And I have to say, I would think the big fella has locked himself up a pretty good contract moving forward. I'm not sure what his terms on this one are, but I would have to think that he's going to be locked in for a couple more years in Japan as he swings at a breaking ball and fouls that one away. Count is 0-1. I was talking with somebody earlier today, and we were talking about fight money. And so in Japan, it only goes to the foreigners, and they have a locker in the locker room. And when you go back in after the game, depending upon who you are and how you've played, there'll be a wad of cash in an envelope for you. There's a split finger pitch swung on and missed. I remember years ago that there was a fella that was at my high school, and he'd played his college ball at Michigan State, and he was telling us about, they wanted to know what kind of vehicle you drove and all those kind of things, and then they would stuff money in envelopes. There was a breaking ball that misses outside. The count is 1-2, where alumni, you'd show up into your vehicle, and next thing you know, your glove compartment's got wads of 50s and $100 bills. It's the same sort of idea in Japan. If you play well, they're going to put more money in that envelope in the locker for you after the game. And he pitches a fastball that just misses inside. It's now 2-2. And some of the players, depending upon what their contract is, could really pull in a good buck. You don't have to necessarily touch your contract money. Here's the 2-2. Fastball swung on and line foul into the seats down the right field line. Count remains at 2-2 to Reyes. So I'm kind of curious about that. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that as possible. But they refer to it as the fight money. So, and the local players, well, they don't get that money. Or the Japanese players don't. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball swung on, tap foul behind home plate, and the count remains at 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Reyes, the big fella, steps back in as Howard gets himself a new baseball. Ready to go back to the action. Here comes the 2-2 pitch as Howard kicks and he fires. There's a fastball swung on under the hands, grounded softly over to the second baseman, Kurikawa, who throws to first, and Reyes is going to be gone on a ground out 4-3. And that is going to end the inning here in inning number 1. Well, the Fighters, they go quietly. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left the board. We're now through 1 complete inning. It is the Eagles 2, and the Fighters no score. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back with the call of inning number 2 in just a couple of moments. Appreciate you for jumping in with us tonight on the Last Raps Baseball YouTube channel. We'll be right back in a few. Welcome back, everybody. It is going to be the 6, 7, and 8 hitters to come to bat for the Eagles in the top half of inning number 2. Rui Muniyama, Daichi Suzuki, and Hikaru Oda. And the first pitch delivered to Muniyama is a fastball swung on and fouled away, and the count is quickly 0-1. So no balls and 1 strike. 27 pitches in the first inning for the Taiwanese right-hander. M. Schroed 87 did. How did Sun look in the first inning as that fastball misses down, and not very good. As that fastball misses up from the right-hander, and the count now goes to 2-1. It is Sun Yi Lai on the hill here for the Fighters as he rocks and delivers. Fastball misses upstairs. Count goes to 3-1. He struck out 2 batters looking Voit and Asamura in that first inning. He got Muribayashi to line out to right. But 3 of the balls that were put in play were all hit hard. There's another fastball swung on. This is lined into center field. It's going to get down for a base hit. As Muniyama is aboard with a leadoff single. So there's been no mystery here. I would say this, that his fastball has been flat. It does have a little bit of run to it. But he's leaving it up in the zone, and the Japanese hitters are just feasting on it. As I said, Nakashima hit the double over Nomura's head in left field to begin the ball game. Muribayashi hit a bullet to the right field warning track / corner. And then the home run off the bat of Kurakawa is how the game started. A lot of loud balls that were struck into play. Settled down to strike out the last 2 hitters of the inning looking, but now here he is with a runner on first and nobody out, and it's a breaking ball that misses down, and the count is 1-0. So I guess you didn't miss a whole lot. So 1 ball and no strikes. Establishing his lead over at first is Muniyama. He's got 5 bags stolen on the year. Again, they throw over to first base this time, and diving back easily is the runner. Suzuki hitting .248, couple homers and 23 RBIs. Not lasting 5 at this point. At this point, I don't know if he's going to last 3 innings, to be point fair. 27 pitches in that first inning. There's a changeup that falls in for a called strike, and the count is 1-1. So 1 ball and 1 strike it is as the right-hander leans in, gets the sign from his catcher Tamiya, working himself to the set, and the pitch on the way is a fastball missing upstairs. The count now goes to 2-1. So 2 balls and 1 strike. I don't even know what the leash they would have on him here for tonight's game. I guess my guess would be 85 pitches, but he's going to get to that fairly quickly. At the rate we are at right now, the 2-1 on the way is a changeup that falls in for a called strike. The count's 2-2. That, in my opinion, is his best pitch right now that we've seen from him. That changeup has got a lot of depth to it. It also has some arm side run. And it has fooled the hitters so far in this one here. And he's been able to throw it for strikes. So that's a plus pitch for the young right-hander. And there's a breaking ball that misses upstairs. Count now full to Suzuki. But the fastball is not putting any fear into the hitters of the Golden Eagles tonight. So 3 balls and 2 strikes as the young right-hander leans in, gets the sign, working himself to the belt. 3-2 on the way. Fastball misses inside. Tamiya ready to throw down to second as the runner was on the move, but it's going to be ball 4, and Suzuki's going to get himself a walk. That's going to put runners at first and second, and it's going to bring Hikaru Oda to the plate. And that is going to bring Yua Tamiya out to the mound to have a talk with his young right-hander. Conference is over fairly quickly. Be curious to know what the language skill would be. I know when I was in Taiwan a couple of weeks ago, and they would have a conference on the mound with an American pitcher, it was interesting. The interpreter would actually run out of the dugout to assist the catcher to have that conversation. They wouldn't get charged with a trip, but obviously the communication between the pitcher and the catcher, very important. I thought that was kind of unique. I didn't really expect that, and you don't always think about stuff like that. Well, this is going to bring Oda to the plate. He's already squaring to bunt as the right-hander holds to the set. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball up and in, and he gets it down, and it is going to be fouled off down the first base line. Boy, that pitch ran up and in on the right-handed hitting catcher of the Eagles. It was a fastball, and that's that arm side run that we saw earlier. Oh, boy, he was really fortunate to get the bat on the ball. He doesn't get the bat on the ball. He's wearing it right in the face. And he fouls that one away for the first strike here. I don't think that would have been intended to run that way for him. I mean, I think the fastball up in the zone was intended because you're trying to induce a pop-up. That's certainly something that ran in on Oda. And now he pops it up, exactly what they wanted, and racing in and making the catch is Kiyomiya. So they get the job done on the high fastball. Not a very good effort by Oda at the plate, able to get the ball down. He's going to be gone for the first out of the inning. Keeps the runners at first and second. It's going to bring up the right fielder in Itsuki Muto. So highly disappointing if you are a fan of the Golden Eagles. There are two other games going on around the NPB tonight, and neither of them have scoring yet. The other game that we thought about maybe looking in on was the Hawks and the Buffaloes. There it's locked at 0 in the top of the second. Top of the second inning, it is the Bay Stars and the Tigers locked at 0s. All the other games go off later this evening, all at 6 o'clock Japan time. Here comes the first offering to Muto, and it's a changeup at the knees, taken for a called strike, and the count is 0-1. So no balls and one strike. Certainly the changeup looking right now like the best pitch that Sun Yi Lai has at his disposal. The 0-1 on the way. Breaking ball misses outside, and the count goes even at 1-1. I think a Major League Baseball starters with their changeups as their best pitch. I don't know who else I could compare that to. Travis says the Tigers are a major underdog tonight. There's a breaking ball that misses up and away, and it counts 2-1. If I remember correctly, I think it's two Americans on the hill. I think it might be Anthony Kay, the former Met Blue Jay Cub. And I think it is Nelson on the hill for the Tigers. But I haven't seen the lineups. Don't know what's happening over there. 2-1 on the way. Fastball swung on and fouled away. Counts 2-2. MS Schroed says the kid has control issues on the heater. Yeah, that would probably be my guess, is that he's going to have to spot his fastball, use his breaking ball and his changeup effectively based on what we've seen here. But I got to say, I do like his change piece. That's pretty impressive looking pitch. Fastball misses up and away, and the count now goes to 3-2. That last pitch was at least on our radar gun, at 93 miles an hour. And just as we've been talking about the starter, now there is action already in the Fighters bullpen. Harrison says it's Nick Nelson for the Tigers. There you go. Sure says they need a double play. I agree. They've got to induce something here on the ground. There's a fastball swung on and fouled away. And the count remains full to Muto. Even still, depending upon what the pitch count is, I wonder if they would even let him sniff the next inning. So runners at first and second for the Golden Eagles. It would be a big confidence boost for the young pitcher here if he was able to get out of this jam unscathed. Right-hander against the left-hander. Pitch on the way. It is a changeup that misses down. It's going to be ball 4. And now the bases are going to be full of Eagles. That's going to bring the pitching coach out to the mound as the big boss is looking on. I wonder how much he's going to put up with this. It's going to bring the top of the order in Daisuke Nakashima to the plate, who's already doubled and scored a run tonight. Our friend Harrison says Anthony Kay got himself a double play. I didn't really look tonight at there was only, I think, 3 games in Major League Baseball, if I remember correctly. I see that the Padres in the 11th inning were able to beat the Milwaukee Brewers 5-4, and that punched their ticket into the playoffs. I think they said something like the 4th time in 11 years. Cardinals knocked off the Giants. If the Giants aren't done, they certainly are now, one would have to think. And the Braves continue their hot finish to the season, beating the Nationals 11-5. Well, that brings up to the plate Daisuke Nakashima. And the first pitch coming here from the right-hander Sunyi Lai is a fastball swung on and fouled away, and the count is quickly 0-1. Nakashima 1 for 1 tonight, doubled and scored a run back in the top of the first. Right-hander again getting his sign. We didn't give you the lineups or the defensive lineups here for tonight's affair. I'll try to do that here. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses inside. Counts 1-1. Defensively tonight for the Fighters from left to right field, it is Nomura in left, Sabata in center, and Mizutani is in right tonight. Around the horn from first to third, Kiyomiya at first, Ishii at second. The shortstop Mizuno on the third baseman is Gunji, with the battery of Eli and Tamiya. Here's the 1-1. Fastball misses down, and the count now goes to 2-1 on Nakashima. Pitch number 50 already here for the right-hander. Schroeder says that Verlander gave up 9 hits. He's washed. He's been okay. Probably in the last month is the best that he has pitched. Fastball swung on, grounded over to second. They go to second for 1, back to first, and it's going to be a double play. But hold on here for a second. They're going to want to take a look at this as the manager, Mickey, is out of the dugout. So they definitely got 1 out for sure. If they get the double play, then the pitcher will be able to get himself out of the inning. Just have to wait here to see what the replay tells us, and I'll be able to take a look at it. I have to tell you, at first glance, I actually thought the Eagle player was able to beat it out. That was a tough double play. Nice job there by the second baseman, Ishii. On that angle there, I would say he's out, but the angle from left center field will tell us, yeah, they're going to reverse the call here. That's going to be a fielder's choice. I'm already going to put it into my book. It's going to be an RBI for Nakashima. The run is going to score. It's going to give the Eagles a 3-0 lead. I don't need the umpires to come back and tell me this. This is going to be a quick decision. For the second out, Muto is retired on that fielder's choice, 4-6. But if they do this, I would think it is something different. The question from MS Schroed says, is this a spot start? Well, I would think that this week here with the extra game, the Fighters did play last night against the Buffaloes, losing 2-0. As the umpire has made his way out, and he has ruled the safe call that we have already made for him. So that is going to increase the scoreline to 3-0 for the Eagles. So they couldn't quite turn it. A nice effort there by the second baseman, Kazunori Ishii. He had to go into the 4-hole to get it. Couldn't quite make that play. That is going to bring up the third baseman, and it's Itsuki Muribayashi. So keep your eye on Nakashima. He can run a bit. He's got 20 stolen bases on the year. And I wouldn't bat an eye that he's going to be in motion here pretty quick. So the right-hander, Sun Eli, on the mound here, holding to the set position, but now he throws over to first, and diving back in time is Nakashima. One would have to think he's got the same process as we do, that he's going to be on the move here pretty quickly. Again, he leans in and gets the sign, does the right-hander. And as I said, I probably at this point here expect that the Fighters are going to be emptying the bullpen here tonight. Again, they throw over to first base, and again, diving back in time. If I saw the number correctly, I think it's Shoma Kanamura who was up and throwing. I'll have to keep an eye there on that. That would be one of the relievers I would expect early on. And he would have to be entrusted to eat some innings. Again, the right-hander holds set. Here's the pitch. They pitch out this time. Not going anywhere is the runner at first. It's ball one here to Murray Biashi. That's one thing in Major League Baseball you don't see a lot of these days are the pitch outs. I remember when you would see that on a regular basis, they would pitch out, try to give the catcher a clearer opportunity to be able to gun down to second, and we just don't see that as part of the game. At least I don't think we see it as part of the game, at least the games I watch. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball taken for a called strike. That one was at 90 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike. Things that we don't see in Major League Baseball, things that we don't see in professional baseball so much. Our friend Travis says, did the Fighters have enough good arms to compete with 6 1/3 to go? Yeah, they do. I guess it all depends on what's going to happen. I'll comment on that. There's a changeup that misses down. It's now 2-1. I guess the big question would be is you got to keep the game close. And so the relievers that they would bring in, they have to keep it close before they start turning it into the better bullpen arms. So that's why I say, like, you're going to get an innings eater like Kanamura to come in. He'll probably give you a couple. You just have to keep the game close. But if you have to take him out in the 3rd inning, as that fastball catches the outside corner, it's now 2-2. He's got to go in the 3rd inning. That puts a lot of strain onto the bullpen early on. So would the Fighters be able to come back? Sure, but I think that needle's pushing a lot further to the Golden Eagles. My Schroeder says MLB wants steals and higher scoring. Travis says he's thinking about an under. I don't think I would touch an under on this one. Well, of course, it's probably moving now in game, so I'm not sure what that number would be. There is a split-figure pitch swung on and missed, and Murray Biashi's in the books. He's gone for the 3rd out of the inning. But the Eagles add another run to their tally here. They had 1 run in the inning on the benefit of 1 hit. There were no errors, and there were 2 runners left aboard. Your score as we move to the bottom of the 2nd inning, it is the Eagles 3 and the Fighters no score. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few with all the action right after this timeout. Welcome back, everybody. It's going to be the heart of the order to come to bat here for the Fighters in inning number 2. It'll be Gunji, Kiyomiya, and Nomura to face the right-hander Spencer Howard. MS Schroeder says the over is going to hit by the 5th or the 6th. Yeah, I would think Kanemaru, Yamamoto, those types. The Fighters, what kind of bullpen do they have? When they have the lead or they are tied, they have, in my opinion, one of the better bullpens in all the NPB. Breaking ball misses inside to Gunji, and the count is 1-0 to start the second inning. Only 14 pitches for Spencer Howard in inning number 1. As the right-hander ready to go back to battle here with Gunji as the pitch is on the way. There's a fastball swung on it as hooked foul into the seats down the left field line. The count goes even to 1-1. Travis says there's something about the Tigers that he doesn't know. Well, first off, I'd have to take a look at the lineup that they're rolling out tonight. I think that often sometimes is something worth looking at as the right-hander kicks and delivers. There's a breaking ball taken for a called strike. It goes to 1-2, and I'm just taking a peek at their lineup. Nothing really pops for me. Why? Chikamoto, Nakano, Teriyaki Sato, Kanami, a lot of the regulars that would be in the lineup there tonight. I don't see Morishita. Fastball swung on, grounded to short, fielded neatly by the shortstop Muniyama, who throws to first, and Gunji's in the books 6-3 on the putout for the first out of the inning. I'll bring up the first baseman in Kentaro Kiyomiya. Defensively tonight for the Eagles, from left to right field, it's Daichi Suzuki in left. The center fielder is Nakashima. It is Muto in right. Around the horn from first to third. Samura at first. Kurikawa at second. The shortstop is Muniyama with the third baseman Murray Biashi with the battery of Howard and Oda. Breaking ball swung on. This one's grounded foul just past the bag at first base, and the count is 0-1 to Kentaro Kiyomiya. Kiyomiya hitting .265 on the year with 10 homers and 60 runs driven in. And then on the flip side of the coin, with the Bay Stars throwing Anthony Kay on the mound here tonight, maybe the pitching matchup on the needle is just a little bit more that way. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, I think that the Tigers are more a left-handed hitting type of team, and Kay is pretty nasty on the lefties. As that breaking ball misses down to Kiyomiya, and the count is 1-1. Howard kicks and fires. Breaking ball swung on it is popped up over on the third base side. Giving chase is the catcher Oda. He's going to watch that sail into the seats, and the count now goes to 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. If you just joined us, the Eagles got 2 in the first inning, courtesy of a 2-run shot off the bat of Kurikawa. They added 1 in the second, when it was Nakashima grounding into a fielder's choice. And that is where we stand. 3-0 right now for the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles on Tuesday afternoon baseball in Japan. Pitch on the way from Howard, swung on, chopped over to third, fielded by the third baseman Murray Biashi, who fires to first, and Kiyomiya is retired. Ground out 5-3 for the second out of the inning. That's going to leave it all up to the center fielder in Yuki Nomura, the left fielder in Yuki Nomura. Well, the best thing that the young pitcher is going to have to try to do is to hold them in the game. And as we said, is it a spot start? Well, it's an extra start because they played yesterday, did the Fighters. First pitch, fastball swung through and missed, and the count is 0-1. Eagles will be keeping an eye on the Buffaloes, who they are chasing, as they are in Fukuoka to play the Hawks for a 3-game set. Fastball swung on and missed. Count now goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Both these teams are chasing. That was the other reason why I picked this game tonight. Fighters chasing the Hawks for first. Eagles chasing the Buffaloes for the last playoff spot. And there is a breaking ball swung on and missed, and Amura's in the books. Nice pitch there by Spencer Howard. It's his first strikeout of the evening, and gone are the Fighters in their half of inning number 2. I'm not sure what we have here, but the big boss is out. He's looking probably to make a pitching change. I get that feeling that the day is done for the starter, Sun-Yi Lee. But we'll have to wait here and see when we return in just a few. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left the board. We're through 2 complete. Your score is the Fighters with a 3-0 lead. We'll be back in just a few with all the action after this musical timeout.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now. Let's begin now.
Welcome back, everybody. It is a pitching change. It is going to be number 24, Shoma Kanamura, who we saw warming up earlier. He is making his 27th appearance or 28th appearance of the year. He's posted a ERA of 2.90. So the right-hander is taking over here as he is the end of the night for Sun-Yi Lee. So as Kanamura completes his tune-up tosses, he's going to be set to face Kurakawa, Voigt, and Asamura, a 3, 4, and 5 part of the batting order. So not exactly the start that the young Taiwanese right-hander was looking for. I have a couple of players in the Fighters organization. The other one was the MVP last year, Gun Lin Ryu Yang, if I've said that correctly. MVP of the Chinese Professional League. There was a fastball taken for a called strike, and the count is 0-1 to Kurakawa. Gunlin Rui Yang, as there is a breaking ball that misses for a ball. The count is 1-1. He was, as I mentioned last year, he pitched for the unit president 7-11 Lions. Yeah, he had a pretty good career. He was 32-15. And right into the prime of his career at 25, going to the NPB. Breaking ball misses outside, and the count now goes to 2-1. And with the Fighters, well, he's been okay this year. He's sort of like that they're just dipping his toe in. There hasn't really had a ton of starts. Fastball swung on and fouled away, and the count goes to 2-2. He was the CPBL's best. He was in their best 9 as a pitcher, and then he was the league's MVP, as I was talking about Gu Lin. Fastball swung on, and this is lifted foul as it one hops the fence down the left field line. And due to his injury last year, interesting that he wasn't part of that Premier 12, which Taiwan ended up winning last year. Big moment for them. I have to tell you that Taipei Dome in Taiwan is absolutely beautiful. There's a breaking ball swung on, is grounded to the right side, and it's going to get past the diving second baseman Ishii into right field. And the hit parade here continues for the Golden Eagles, so it doesn't matter who the Fighters put on the mound. A base hit there by Kurakawa. That's his second hit of the evening. He's aboard with a leadoff single. That's going to bring up the designated hitter in Luke Voigt. And our friend Harrison is tapping out for the night. Well, we thank you for being here, Harrison. Much appreciated, as always, for your support. Look forward to you. We're going to be on the weekend. We'll set games up on Friday night and Saturday. So hopefully you folks will make that announcement a little bit later in the week. There's a breaking ball swung on. This ball is lifted into deep right field, but not deep enough. Coming in on it now is Mizutani, and he's there to make the catch, and Voigt is going to be retired for the second time tonight. He's gone for the first out of the inning. That is going to bring up the first baseman in Hideo Asamura. Well, for Asamura, 0 for 1 tonight. He has struck out his only trip to the plate. And establishing his lead over at first base is the runner Kurakawa. And Asamura swings at the first pitch he sees, and he's going to loop this one softly into center field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Racing in is Isabata, but stopping at second is going to be Kurakawa. And that is going to put runners at first and second with one out. It is going to bring Rui Muniyama to the plate. So right now, it really doesn't matter who the Fighters have on the mound. The Eagles have brought their bats with them tonight, and they're using them effectively. Travis says that Hokkaido is getting lit up. Harrison is putting in his request. I'm not sure who we're going to do that far ahead. I'll look at the pitching matchups, and I'll look at the games that actually matter. The Central League is pretty much decided, other than maybe second or third place. Probably stay in the Pacific. There's a split finger pitch, misses down, and the count is 1-0 to Muniyama. It's kind of our thought process on it right now. As I said, I will give this to Major League Baseball. There are some pretty exciting races that are going on in the MLB. Whereas I look at what's going on in the NPB right now, pretty much other than the Eagles to be eliminated, potentially, as there is a breaking ball that is waved at and missed, and the count's 1-1 to Muniyama. I have to say, I am pretty amazed with the way that the Major League Baseball has been doing their stuff. If we had to look ahead, if I had to make an early prediction, I would probably do the Buffaloes and the Eagles, possibly. As there's a breaking ball swung on and missed, or taken for a call and strike. The count is 1-2. Although we could do the Giants and the Bay Stars, that game is a early game. That's a 2:00 start, so that could be a possibility. The other games in the Pacific are all late starts, and I don't think we're going to be doing the 2 a.m. first pitch. So there is a good chance that could happen. There's a pitch that's down. It just squirts away from the catcher, Tamiya, but the runners aren't going anywhere. It's now 2-2. The Sunday game on the 28th, that one there we would probably bounce back. It would probably be the Eagles and the Oryx Buffaloes. We're probably lean toward that one. There are Monday games in the NPB, but they're all going to be 2 a.m. start times. Those are starting. We're getting into the makeup games. As there's a split finger pitch swung on it, is popped up into shallow center field. The infield fly rule is going to be in effect. As underneath it there to make the catch is Mizuno, and that is going to retire Muniyama. He's going to be gone for the second out of the inning. It's going to leave it all up to the left fielder in Daichi Suzuki. Two things that drive me crazy when you get into RBI or potential situations, pop-ups and strikeouts. Certainly the pop-out was right there for you in the making. So we'll do a couple of games on the weekend. And then next week, we're getting into the kind of the windup of the season They've got games pretty much slated every single day. Nothing is going to be done except they're going to have some early games on the Saturday, the 4th and the 5th in October. There's a fastball ticket for a called strike. It was 1-1 to Suzuki. And then they got a few days off until it gets to the first round of the first stage of the playoffs. That'll be the Central League and the Pacific League going Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Here comes the 0-1 pitch as the right-hander holds set. Kicks and delivers. There's a fastball waved at and missed. The count now goes to 0-2 on Suzuki. Quite a number of games. Japan series does not start until October 25th, and it could go into November at the latest. We'll definitely be on the call for those ones. We're looking forward to that. Lots of baseball to be played in the month of October in the NPB. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Camara delivers. There's a split figure pitch swung on it. Is popped up into shallow center field. Moving over underneath it is Isabata. He's there to make the catch, and that is going to do it. Well, the Eagles, they threaten for more, but they don't score. As is the first inning that they've been kept off the board. There were no runs in the inning. There were a pair of hits. There was no errors, and there were 2 runners left aboard. Moving to the bottom of the third, your score is the Eagles 3, the Fighters no score. Stay with us, everybody. It is NPB Baseball on the Last Perhaps Baseball YouTube channel. We'll be back here in just a few. We'll catch back up on our chat when I come back. Hang tight, everybody. Three nothing for the Eagles as we move to the bottom of the third. We'll be back in just a few with all the action. Welcome back, everybody. We are moving to the bottom half of inning number 30, and it's the bottom third of the batting order to come to bat here for the Fighters. That means Isabata, Mizuno, and Tamiya, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. And as pointed out by our friend M. Schroed, I'm not sure if that's 87, probably Schroeder, as that breaking ball is taken for a called strike. It is 1-0 for the Buffaloes, which is not good news for the Eagles as they are needing them to lose a few games. The Eagles have to just do their part and keep winning. And there's a breaking ball that misses upstairs. The count goes to 1-1 on Isabata. Only 25 pitches through the first 2 innings for the right-hander Howard. So 1 ball and 1 strike. And as Schroeder says, the race in the National League has been pretty awesome. Yeah, it absolutely is. As that pitch misses outside, it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Isabata. Isabata, though he's batting 7th and leading off in the inning, he's just like having a leadoff hitter. He has got some wheels. Yeah, and certainly the Detroit Tigers in the American League Central have made it interesting. Maybe not for their fans. They've been absolutely terrible in the month of September. One of the things, because I follow the Tigers quite a bit, and I was watching and looking in, they got a big 3-game set coming up against the Guardians. And I've been saying since probably the month of May that I think that the Tigers have overused their bullpen. And their guys are dragging their knuckles. They just don't have enough starters to go deep into games outside of Skubal. There's a breaking ball swung on, grounded up the middle, fielded, moving to his left by the shortstop, Muniyama, and he throws to first, and Isabata's gone on a ground out 6-3. So 7 up and 7 down here so far for the Fighters in this one here tonight by Spencer Howard. And that is going to bring up the shortstop in Tatsuki Mizuno. But I was just saying about the overuse of the bullpen outside of Skubal. Casey Mize really doesn't give you a lot of deep starts. Jack Flaherty doesn't give you a lot of deep starts. And then you got a lot of smoke and mirrors with the back end of that staff. There's a breaking ball swung on it, is grounded over to first, fielded on the short hop by Asamura, and he is going to retire Mizuno. It's a ground out to 3. So 2 quick outs here in the 3rd inning, and that's going to bring up the catcher in Yua Tamiya. Tigers lost a couple of their starters in the year. Their young rookie Jackson Jobe is out for all of next year with Tommy John. And then they had Reese Olson, who was a big part of their staff last year. He's out for, I believe, the rest of the year. Haven't checked on his injury status lately. But there's 5 guys right there that are basically big parts of your, or 2 guys right there, big parts of your team that now you're turning the ball over to other guys. They released Charlie Morton this week. Chris Paddock, unfortunately, never has really panned out. First pitch fastball, or swung on and missed. I got it. I must have missed a pitch there. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to Tamiya. Busy giving the roundup of the Tigers' collapse. And there is a pitch that misses outside. It's now 2-1. Emma Schroeder says the Tigers' collapse reminds him of San Diego versus Colorado in 2007. Yeah, there's been a few collapses in recent years. That would have been one of them. It just drives you crazy. There's a fastball that misses outside. Count is 3-1. Speaking of collapses, I remember back in 1987 when the Toronto Blue Jays, I forget what it was. They had something like a 5-game lead on the Tigers, and Tigers ended up coming back and winning it in the last weekend, sweeping the Blue Jays at home. I think Frank Tanana was on the hill. There's a fastball swung on and fouled away. It's 3-2 now to Tamiya. You get into situations where teams don't know how to close it out. You got to learn how to win sometimes, and certainly the Tigers on the back end, their bullpen has been as good as it was at the beginning of the year. It's been absolutely tragic at the back half. Fastball swung on. It's going to be lifted down the left field line and slice into the seats, and it keeps the count full on Tamiya. So 3 balls and 2 strikes it remains. But in the other end of the spectrum, that is the beauty of baseball, and you've got something to talk about. I think, imagine if the Diamondbacks were able to get into the playoffs here. That would be unbelievable in the National League. Who would have thought that 3 weeks ago, let alone a week ago, as they are battling for their playoff lives? New York Mets, in some ways, the Mets have been so bad as that fastball swung on and fouled away. Count remains at 3-2 to Tamiya. The Mets have been so bad. They've been caught by the Reds as they're tied. The D-backs are 1 game back. I don't think the D-backs are going to make it. They got 3 coming up against the Dodgers, whereas the Reds have got Pittsburgh. Fastball swung on, grounded back up off the foot of the pitcher over to the shortstop, fielded by Muniyama. He throws it to first, and Tamiya, if he didn't have any luck, it certainly would be bad luck in his case. It's going to go down as a ground out, 1-6-3 on the putout, and it is a perfect 9 in a row here for the right-hander through 3 innings. We are a third of the game in the books. And your score is the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles with a 3-0 lead over the Fighters. Stay with us, everybody. Lots of action still to come in this one on the Last Raps Baseball YouTube channel. We have been spared tonight on the amount of people that have come in to ask us, where are you watching this game from? So at the 1 hour and 12-minute mark, we are going to tell you where you might be able to pick it up. Depending on where you're at in the world will dictate. Obviously, if you are in Japan, you can pick up the game in different areas. And I'm not sure if Tokyo Broadcasting System is carrying this one here tonight. You can always get it off of Pacific League TV, as there's a breaking ball ticket for a called strike. The count is 0-1. Make sure you get your wallet out for that. You can also, on DAZN, they carry a lot of the Pacific League games in different parts of the world. There is a breaking ball swung on it. It is grounded through the 4-hole into right field. And Hikaru Oda is aboard with a leadoff single here to start the 4th inning. It'll bring up the right fielder in at Tsukimoto. Other places that you can pull up, potentially pull up, obviously the J-Sport channels are another one. And that would be your best bet. They do have Friends to Friends, I understand, was carrying games on a delay. I don't know if they're still doing that. So if you are looking for that information, there you go. We've just served it up. If anybody else comes in, we'll go back to 1 hour and 12 minutes. But where you can get it in the United States, I'm not sure because we're not in the States. So good luck to you on that one. So Oda is the runner at first as they throw over to first base. He gets back in time as they try to pick over. And Muto has already been showing that he wants to bunt. So as he bats here, he is squared around already on the left side. MS Schroeder, as we were saying earlier with the Reds with the tiebreaker over the Mets, and Zona has the tiebreaker over both. There's a fastball that misses upstairs. Same idea again. They try to go upstairs to induce the pop-up, but a nice job there by Muto to pull back. 1 ball and no strikes. You're able to get the catcher Oda earlier on the pop-up as well. So 1 ball and no strikes. Right-hander Katamura on in relief, the second pitcher used tonight by the Fighters as he throws over to first base and diving back in time as the base runner. He was at 16 pitches in his first inning of work. So Katamura here with the runner at first. Nobody out in the top of the 4th inning. Again, the right-hander kicks and delivers, and that one is bunted. It's down the first baseline. Kiyomiya feels that he's going to throw to first, and that is going to be a nice job there by Muto, as that's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to go in the books as a 3-4 on the putout. Advancing to second is the catcher Oda, and it'll bring up the top of the order, Daisuke Nakashima. And for Nakashima, well, he comes to bat here. He is officially 1 for 2 tonight. He has a double. He scored a run, and he's driven in a run for the Eagles. He bats from the left side here against the right-handed throwing Katamura. He has that base hit early on. He has raised his season average to 282. Right-hander kicks and delivers. There's a breaking ball missing way upstairs. The count is 1-0. We were talking a little earlier about the Major League Baseball races. The NPB races have been pretty much, I don't want to say decided, but the playoff picture is pretty close to being decided, certainly in the Central League. The Tigers have wrapped up the top spot. There is a split finger pitch that's taken for a called strike, and the count goes to 1-1. The race is for the 2 and 3 positions. The Bay Stars currently have a 2-game lead with 6 games remaining over the Giants. Giants are 2 games back of the Bay Stars. Mathematically, the Dragons have been eliminated as the pitch is a fastball that is waved at and missed by Nakashima, and the count goes to 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. For a while there, I wondered if there was only going to be the Tigers that were going to be a 500 team making the playoffs, but Bay Stars look like they will be above that 500 mark. The Giants are right at that mark. So here comes the 1-2 pitch as the right-hander checks the runner at second, now delivers. Fastball just misses inside, and the count goes to 2-2 on Nakashima. Over in the Pacific League, the only spot that is yet to be decided is that third spot. The Golden Eagles are currently 4.5 games behind the Buffaloes. Buffaloes have 9 games to play if you include tonight. The Eagles have 11 games to play, including tonight. There's a fastball swung on. This is going to be lifted foul down the left field line, and the count remains at 2-2. So that's the only thing worth scoreboard watching about. The Saitama Cebu Lions also have 11 games left, and technically they could still make the playoffs. The Buffaloes and the Eagles would have to have an epic collapse of all time, and the Lions would have to go on one of the greatest runs in NPB history to have to catch them. But they are pretty much all but out. They're 7 games behind the Buffaloes. As there's a fastball swung on. This is popped up down the right field line. Giving chase is Kiyomiya. Coming over underneath it is Mizutani. He's there to make the catch. Tagging it second, but now retreating to the base is the runner Oda, and that's going to retire Nakashima for the second out of the inning. So he's gone for out number 2, and it's going to leave it up to the third baseman, Itsuki Moribayashi. So as I said, the Lions are 7 games back of the Buffaloes. They've got 11 games to play. The only thing that is left there is the crying in Saitama. As pretty much their attempts to make the playoffs are all but over. Our friend Gracie Lynn is in the house. She says she can't stay long, joining from her layover in Paris, but wanted to drop in. Awesome. Thanks for popping in. Probably at Charles de Gaulle. There's a breaking ball that misses up and away, and the count is 1-0. On for some rare afternoon Tuesday baseball. Got your message earlier on today. I got a lot of thoughts on some of that stuff, and I can give you some comments while you're with us here. She had sent over some stuff. There was a big announcement made in the Canadian Football League today about how they're going to change the rules. There's a split finger pitch that is taken for a called strike, and the count goes to 1-1 on Moribayashi. We have all kinds of people who like to listen to or tune into different sports, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of some of the stuff, but I'm sure we can have a long conversation about it. She is going to be heading up to Regina, Saskatchewan to catch some CFL action in a couple of weeks. Fastball swung on and fouled away, and the count is 1-2 to Moribayashi. Make sure you bring your warm winter gear. It's going to be chilly. So 1 ball and 2 strikes as Moribayashi waggles his bat, waiting on the offering here. As the right-hander works himself to the set, he checks the runner at second. Checks him again, and now time has been called as Moribayashi can't take it anymore. The pitcher must have checked the runner back to second base about 4 or 5 times. Ridiculous. It's the slow-footed catcher in Oda. I don't know if Oda is much of a threat to steal. He hasn't had a stolen base this year. I bet you could probably count the number of stolen bases on one hand by Oda. I don't know exactly what his tally is. As there's the pitch that misses outside, and the count goes to 2-2 on Moribayashi. If I did some quick snap looking, 6 career stolen bases in the span of 7 seasons for Oda. So Kanamura should just focus on the hitter here and try to get this one out. As the 2-2 pitch is ready to go. Fastball swung on. It is popped up over on the right side of the infield. Kiyomiya underneath it. There to make the catch, and that is going to do it as Moribayashi is going to be retired. He's going to be gone for the 3rd out of the inning, and that will do it here for the Eagles. If I had my choice, I'd say come to BC, see the Lions. And if you did that, I might even go. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left aboard. We are through 3.5 innings. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. Fighters still looking for their first base runner. We'll be back here in just a few. Appreciate you guys for listening in on the Last Rouse Baseball YouTube channel. Right back after this.
Hello, this is Eric Fox, formerly of the Oakland A's and Texas Rangers baseball teams. If you want to learn about Japanese baseball, see Coach Fred of Last Raps Baseball. If you want baseball instruction, see Coach Fred. If you want to learn about golf, do not go to Coach Fred. Fred, what kind of club is this?
At Last Raps Baseball, we know baseball. Welcome back, everybody. It is going to be the top of the order for the fighters here. It's going to be Mizutani, Ishii, and Reyes. Yoab official says any chance the fighters can come back? Of course. Second best team in the league. The problem is, though, is that the way this game has started here, Spencer Howard has been absolutely brilliant. I think the first thing they got to look at is trying to get a base runner, which they have not had success in doing here through the first three innings, and find a way to build after that. But Howard has been able to keep him off balance. Only one strikeout in his 9 recorded outs, and the first pitch to Mizutani is swung on and lifted into right center field, moving over underneath it. Oh, and making the catch is the center fielder. I don't know if I like the way that Nakashima hauled that one in. Boy, that probably left everybody a little bit nervous, as Mizutani is going to be gone for the first out of the inning. So one pitch and one away here in the fourth, and that'll bring up the second baseman in Kazunori Ishii. We were talking about over-unders. The way this game started out, it looked like the over was in jeopardy. Slow down a little bit here as that fastball misses down to Ishii for a ball. Ball on no strikes. Ishii 0 for 1 tonight, has popped to the shortstop his only time up. And interesting, not only has Howard been pretty good tonight, but he has induced a lot of weak contact. There's a fastball swung on and lifted foul down the left field line, and the count is 1-1. Friend Gracie Lynn is getting ready to board her second flight. I hope you have a safe flight. How long a flight from Charles de Gaulle to into Spain? And there's a fastball swung on, and it's going to eat up the first baseman, Asamura, as that is going to get into right field. And just like that, Kazunori Ishii is the first base runner of the day. I'm going to see how they're going to score it, but as far as I'm concerned, that's going to be potentially a base hit. We'll watch that one again as he turns on it. Does Ishii hits it right to the first baseman. And he bit of a lays it, but I don't think it's going to be enough to get charged an error. One would have to think that's going to be a base hit for Ishii, and that'll bring up the designated hitter in Franmil Reyes. Yeah, they got out of some jams and pulled the Taiwanese kid in time. Yeah, so one swing of the bat here, and you got a one-run ball game again. There's a fastball taken for a called strike, and the count is 0-1. Our friend Gracie Lynn says it is 2 hours and 10 minutes, and then a 3-hour drive. Sounds like a lot of travel. So here comes the 0-1 pitch. It's a fastball that is swung on and missed, and the count now goes to 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes to Reyes. Howard ready to go back to work again as the right-handed hitting Reyes is waggling his bat. Pitch on the way. Breaking ball swung on and missed, and Reyes is in the books. He's gone for the second out of the inning. That was pretty quick work there made by Spencer Howard. He was soft, and softer, it seemed like, as he is able to retire Reyes for out number 2, and that's going to leave it all up to Yuya Gunji. Well, for Gunji, he is 0 for 1 tonight. He grounded to short his first time up. Matt Schroeder says that Howard is dealing. Howard has been pretty good. That is for certain. As the right-hander works himself to the belt. As the pitch is a breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count is 0-1. Gracie Lynn says she's never experienced such time changes before. Wait till you cross the date line going to Asia. You leave one day and you arrive a day later. I know my flight in December, I leave at like 12:30 a.m. and I arrive on one day and I arrive like the next day at like 5:30 in the morning. But yet it's only 10 hours on the flight as that pitch misses inside and the count goes to 1-1. That's the beautiful part, especially going. I always found it easier to go west than I do east, unless you're crossing the date line. Then I have no problem coming back. Although this time I was a little bit more tired than anything else. There's a fastball swung on and lifted foul. Count goes to 1-2. Yeah, MS Schroeder. Yeah, absolutely. Done that before. You leave at 4 in the afternoon and you arrive at 10 in the morning the same day. That was how it worked for me. Gracie Lynn says, no, he was the former Philadelphia Philly. Fastball swung on and lifted foul down the right field line, and the count remains at 1-2 to Gunji. Spencer Howard, second round pick, I think I said earlier, of the Phillies, and then he was with Texas and the Giants, the Guardians. He bounced around a little bit. That was a nice season, but he's just, the health has been the issue. Here comes the 1-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball swung on, lifted into right center field. Moving over underneath it and making the catch at the edge of the warning track is the center fielder Nakashima, and that is going to do it as Gunji is going to be gone for the third out of the inning, and that will do it here for the Fighters in their half of the fourth. Well, they break the ice, getting their first hit of the game. There was no runs in the inning, one hit, no errors, and there was one runner left aboard. Your score, as we are now through 4 complete innings, it is the Eagles 3 and the Fighters no score. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few with all the action. Top of the 5th around the corner. More action in the Fighters bullpen. We'll have to see if the big boss is going to make another big move. Hang tight, everybody. We'll be back in just a few. Our score is the Eagles 3 and the Fighters nothing as we move ourselves to the top of the 5th inning. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few with all the action right after this timeout. Welcome back, everybody. It's the 3, 4, and 5 hitters to come to bat for the Golden Eagles. And the first pitch to Curacao was a breaking ball that missed down and a fastball that misses outside, and the count's 2-0. Kurikawa has accounted for 2 of the 3 runs tonight. He hit the 2-run homer in the first, and he had a single in the third inning as the right-hander kicks and he delivers. Fastball taken for a called strike. The count now goes to 2-1. There is action in the bullpen. We saw Naoki Miyanishi getting loose for the Fighters. So we'll keep our eye here on how far that right-hander Kanamura can go, as there's a fastball taken under the hands for a called strike. The count's now 2-2 to Kurikawa. My guess is this would be probably the last inning for the right-hander. As the pitch is on the way, it's a fastball swung on and fouled away over on the third base side, and the count remains at 2-2. And then to go back to some of our chat earlier on, I would have to say that in the event that if they can hold this scoreline here, Fighters have got to try to get themselves a run or so to close the gap. Fastball swung on, grounded past the third base coach. Count remains at 2-2 strikes. I'd have to say that if the Fighters can punch a run or 2 back here, then that needle might start looking like it could be a Fighter late inning return. So we'll have to wait and see how this will play out. But they've got to find a way to get to Spencer Howard first. Breaking ball swung on, chop foul. Boy, there's something about that third base coach. The ball's a magnet. As that ball just chops right by him. 2-2 strikes. It remains to Kurikawa. Miss Schroeder says, how deep can Howard go? That's a great question. I don't know what the leash on him would be if they would take him to 85 pitches. There's a fastball swung on. This ball is going to get lined into center field past the glove of the second baseman, Ishii. And we're in the 5th inning. It's already the 3rd hit of the night here for Kurikawa. He's got himself a single. That is going to bring up the designated hitter in Luke Voigt. Well, for Voigt, 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out looking and flown to right field in his 2 trips to the plate. Eagles with a 3-0 lead here over the Fighters. As the right-handed hitting designated hitter of the Eagles stands in. And the first pitch on the way is a breaking ball that misses up and in for a ball, and the count is 1-0. Voigt hitting .284 on the year with those 13 homers and 34 runs driven in. I have to tell you, pretty impressed with the statement that he has made in the NPB here. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. On his way, it's a fastball swung on and fouled straight back. A little surprised in a way that he couldn't keep a job in Major League Baseball in some capacity. And is Miyanishi still up and throwing in the Fighters' pen? Be curious to see. I would think that Kanamura will probably get an opportunity to face the next hitter in Asamura as well, but you never know. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. And it's a fastball swung on. It is pop foul over on the first base side, and the count is 1-2 to Kanamura. Better question is how many pitches will they let Kanamura get to here? I figured maybe 50 pitches might be his limit. Maybe 2 more batters to go. Here's the 1-2. Split finger pitch misses down and away, and the count now is 2-2 to Luke Voigt. As I said, I am really glad for Voigt. But I'm a little surprised, as I said before, about that he's not able to get another job in Major League Baseball, or at least another look-see. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses well down and away. Count 3-2 to Voigt. I mean, he did lead the league in home runs in the year shortened 2020 season. I don't know if that's because he strikes out or maybe he's such a streaky hitter. He does go on some streaks where he can really carry the team and then put the team on his back. And then the next thing you know, he's gone on a cold streak and can't hit a beach ball. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to the designated hitter of the Eagles. Runner at first is Kurikawa. Nobody gone here in the 5th. Payoff pitch on the way. Delivers. Split finger pitch misses down and away. And now the Eagles have got some action on the base paths. They got runners at first and second with nobody out. And that'll bring up the first baseman in Hideto Asamura. It's going to bring the pitching coach Kato out to the hill. Have a word with his starter. Looks like the Tigers have tied it up with the Bay Stars at 1 apiece. Buffaloes are still ahead of the Hawks at 1-0. That is in the top of the 5th inning. So that had to be one of the shortest conversations ever. Probably told him, hey, this is the last guy you're going to face, so let's see what you can do. So that brings Asamura to the plate. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He struck out looking and singled in his 2 trips. Raised his season average up to 243 with that knock in the 3rd inning. Here's the pitch. Fastball swung on, chopped over to 3rd, and it's just going to ground foul. Oh boy, I got to tell you, if that ball was hit maybe another 8 inches to the right, that could have been not just a double play, it could have been a triple play. I remember we saw an exhibition game between the Fighters and the Giants a couple of years ago at Escon Field, and it was in the 1st inning, and the Giants grounded into a triple play in a very similar manner to this. It's only been rare that I've seen triple plays live. I've seen on replay. We happen to be a part of that one. That was a pretty cool piece. There's a fastball that misses way outside. The count is 1-0 to Asamura. So 1 ball and no strikes. Kanemaru already running out of gas. So 1 ball and 1 strike as the right-handed hitting Asamura waggling the bat, pitch on the way. Breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count now goes to 1-1 on Asamura. As we mentioned before, 2 weekend games, Friday North American time and Saturday North American time will be on the airwaves. We'll put our schedule up a little bit later this week. Again, the right-hander working himself to the set, checking the runner at second, now delivers. Split finger pitch misses down. It's now 2-1 to Asamura. Check that, 2-2. I must have missed a pitch in there somewhere or put it in the wrong spot. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just as a reminder, after the 5th inning, they take that 5-minute break in Japan. They'd like to take that smoke break for some of the players. I don't know how many players still are smoking as much as they are. There's a fastball at the knees taken for a called 3rd strike. Not sure what Asamura was looking for, but he's going to be gone for the first out of the inning, and the big boss is making his way out of the dugout as we predicted or projected that it'll be a left-hander coming in to face Rui Muniyama. We're going to take a little time out here as he gets the ball from the home plate umpire and the big boss on his way out to the mound to make the pitching change. Stay with us, everybody. Our good friend Steve Rademacher is going to give you his version of what a good relief pitcher looks like when we return after this.
Hey, where are you going? It's a pitching change. Come on, sit back down. You don't go out there. Don't go get no food or anything. You've got a big decision. Are you gonna throw in there Raleigh Fingers? Maybe Goose Gossage? How about maybe Mariano Rivera or Lee Smith, Dennis Eckersley? Who knows? It's a pitching change. Come on back. You know who I would pick for this? A nice tall cool one. There's my pitcher. That's my pitching change. That's a winning combination. come see my channel. Every day is opening day. And according to Bob, I must be in the front row. Blah.
Welcome back, everybody. It is going to be Naoki Miyanishi coming on in relief as he's going to try to get the fighters out of this jam. We have another little timeout here and a little bit of music for you to listen to before we come back for more action. Stay with us, everybody. Your score line is 3-0 for the Golden Eagles over the Fighters. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back, everybody. The left-hander Miyanishi is just completing his tune-up tosses, and we'll be ready to resume the action in just a couple moments. Just taking a look here at the out-of-town scoreboard once again, and as we had mentioned earlier on, it is in the fifth inning. Top of the fifth inning, the Buffaloes have a 1-0 lead over the Hawks. That's at the PayPay Dome in Fukuoka. Bottom of the fifth inning, a 1-1 between the Bay Stars and the Tigers, as the Tigers had responded with a run in that ball game. And earlier on in that game, it was a solo shot off the bat of Yoshi Satsugo, his 18th of the year off of Nelson, that had given the Bay Stars that early 1-0 lead. Well, this is going to bring to the plate Rui Muniyama. The rookie is 1 for 2 tonight. He's got a single and 2 trips. He did score the third run of the ball game. As the lefty kicks and delivers, the first pitch is a breaking ball that misses down and away. Count is quickly 1 balls and no strikes to Muniyama. Muniyama 1 for 2. Singled and scored the third run, as we said, of the ball game. Left-hander getting his signs from Tamiya, checks the runner over at second base, which is Kurakawa. As the pitch is a fastball taken at the knees for a called strike, and the count runs even now to 1-1. I do have a couple of lefties back-to-back. Daichi Suzuki is waiting his turn on deck. We'll see if the manager, Mickey, is going to play a little chess, or if it's a little too early in the game here for the Golden Eagles to be making their switches. 1 ball and 1 strike as the lefty holds set again. Checks the runner, now delivers. Fastball taken at the knees for a called strike, and the count now goes to 1-2. So Muniyama taking 2 pitches at the knees, pretty good spots, watching them go by. That pitch there was a little bit more middle away than anything. So 1 ball and 2 strikes it is, as Muniyama digs himself back in, and the left-hander Miyanishi ready to go. He checks that runner over at second. And the 1-2 pitch on the way. There's a breaking ball that misses way outside. The count now goes to 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. If you just joined us, the Eagles scored 2 on the top of the first off the home run from 2-run homer by Kurakawa. They added to their lead in the second inning. It was a RBI fielder's choice off the bat of Nakashima that cashed home Muniyama with the third run of the game, and that is where we stand here, 3-0. Fighters finally got a base hit off of Spencer Howard in that last half inning, as that ball is a breaking ball swung on and fouled away. The count remains at 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Left-hander again getting the sign. Checks the runner over at second base as he works himself to the belt. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses down, and the count is 3-2. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. Miyanishi getting himself the baseball and ready to go. I will be curious if they put the runners in motion here. They could potentially get a good jump off the lefty with being the runner at second base. We'll keep an eye here. Here's the 3-2 pitch. No, runners are holding, and there's a breaking ball swung on, tap foul over on the third base side. Count remains at 3-2. You obviously never want to make the third out at third in an inning. But interesting to see if they might consider putting the runners in motion. So we're going to do the payoff pitch all over again. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Maniyama. Runner at second, Kurakawa. Runner at first is Voigt. Again, the lefty holds himself to the belt. Here's the pitch. Fastball misses just on the outside corner. It's going to be ball 4. Maniyama is going to get himself a walk. Voigt heads to second. Kurakawa over to third. Bases are now full of Eagles. And that is going to bring the left fielder, or it's slated to bring the left fielder, Daichi Suzuki, to the plate. We'll see if they are going to play some chess themselves, the Golden Eagles, or if it is Suzuki, the veteran left-handed stick of the Eagles, to come to bat here. They are going to play chess, as that's what I wondered. It is going to be Michael Franco who is coming to bat here. So manager Mickey making his presence felt. We're going to have a pinch hitter while the move goes back over to Shinjo, but Shinjo doesn't look like he's got anything going in the bullpen right now. So for Franco, he has played well in the last 6 weeks of the season. He's got a .243 average with 7 homers and 28 runs driven in. Big spot here for the former major leaguer to try to do some damage. Big moment here in the ball game for the Eagles. Can they blow this apart? Lefty works himself to the belt. And the first pitch on the way, slow breaking ball misses outside for ball 1. Counts 1-0. M. Schroeder says, too many first pitch balls. Yeah, falling behind in the count, very, very difficult. And you're going to have to give the hitters something fat to hit. Yanishi here just does not have the command of his pitches so far this evening. There's a breaking ball swung on and chopped foul just past the third base coach's box, and the count remains at 1-1. So 1 ball and 1 strike. A little surprised at how slow a pace this game is moving at. I always like to say, usually if you get through the first 5 innings in 90 minutes, you're on a pretty good clip. This game here is looking like it's going to be 2 hours for 5. When you think about it, it's been a tough slog for the Fighters pitchers. They've not had a 1-2-3 inning yet tonight. Spencer Howard's been brilliant. So there's a fastball taken for a called strike. The count now goes to 1-2 here to Franco. So 1 ball and 2 strikes as Miyanishi gets himself set, ready to go again. And then the other thing is, too, is you think of the relievers. Some of the relievers like Miyanishi just work so slow. His pace here, he gets the ball back. It's just on his own sweet time. Well, we got a bit of a pause here as a bit of a problem with our feed. Now, the pitch on the way with Franco is lifted into left center field. Moving over underneath it, should be deep enough to get a run in. Tagging at third and scoring is Kurakawa. He's going to slide in safely with the 4th run of the game. It's going to be a sacrifice fly off the bat of Franco. He's going to get himself an RBI. And that is going to increase the scoreline to 4-0. And it's going to bring the manager Shinjo back out of the dugout. As I have a feeling we're going to have ourselves yet another pitching change. So that is the second out of the inning. A run on the board. That is the end of the night for Miyanishi. Here, Hikaru Oda is slated to come to bat. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes with all the action here. Miyanishi gets a piece of cardboard. I didn't catch exactly what it was, as it looks like he has himself an award for a number of pitches or a number of stuff, but he doesn't necessarily do the job that I think he wanted to do. A walk and a sac fly has given the Eagles a 4-0 lead. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, everybody. It is going to be Taisho Tamai, the reliever, coming in here to face Hikaru Oda, as he will be the fourth pitcher used tonight by the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters. Oda at the plate, 1 for 2. He's got a single and 2 trips. He's also popped out to the catcher. His average has been raised to 159 on the year, and a fastball comes inside, almost hits him. For ball 1, count is 1-0. That's what you certainly don't want to do. You don't want to hit the guy who's batting $159. That'd drive you absolutely insane as a coach or a manager, I would have to think. Right-hander Tamai holds to the belt, now delivers. There's a fastball taken for a called strike, and the count is 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Again, the right-hander getting his sign. Tamai working himself to the belt. Runner at second is Voigt. Runner at first is Muniyama. And the pitch comes inside. Did it hit Oda? Yeah, it did. I thought at first it might have hit the bat. So he tried to brush him off the plate on the first pitch, and then he drills him to load the bases. That's got to drive you insane as the coach. That's going to bring up the right fielder, and it's Tsukimoto. The guy's hitting the 8th for a reason. He can't hit. Then you drill him. I always say that to young players. I go, the guys aren't hitting at the top of the order for a reason. So don't give them a reason to get on base. Just throw strikes. They'll find ways to get themselves out. I mean, I know they're professional players and they're professional hitters, but even at this level of play here, there are guys that can't hit at this level. Here's the first pitch. It's a breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count is 0-1 to Muto. Muto tonight yet to have an official at bat. He has a walk and a sacrifice bunt. As the left-handed hitting Muto at the plate. Here comes the pitch. And delivers. There's a breaking ball taken for a called strike. And now Tamai is ahead at 0-2. Actually, I thought that was a breaking ball that had dropped in. It was actually a split finger pitch. The movement on it was rather odd. It was because of his low arm angle. Sometimes I think a guy is throwing the split finger pitch and the pitch goes more 12-6 or at least has some depth to it. That was low 3/4 for sure. Here's the pitch. Oh, it's a fastball that misses down, and the count goes to 1-2. Muto had thoughts about pulling the trigger, but did a pretty good job of holding up on that one. So a ball and 2 strikes it is to the right fielder of the Eagles. Bay Stars Tigers 2-2 down the top of the 6th. Still 1-0 for the Buffaloes over the Hawks. Pitch on the way. Fastball that just misses, and the count now goes to 2-2 on Muto. Pitch had a lot of backdoor run to it. Thought it was going to get across for a called strike, but no cigar, says the home plate umpire. Looks like the Tigers hit a home run in the top of the 6th inning with the bat of Oyama to tie that game at 2. So here comes the 2-2 pitch on the way. Fastball swung on and missed, and that is going to do it. Muto has gone on strikes. He's gone for out number 3, and we are going to take ourselves our Japanese halftime timeout. We got a 1 run in the inning on the benefit of 2 hits. There was no errors, and the bases were left loaded, 3 aboard. Eagles, as we move to the bottom of the 5th inning, enjoying themselves a 4-0 lead. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. It's going to be Kiyomiya, Nomura, and Isabata to come to bat. We are officially halfway through this one. Got another half inning to go before we get our Japanese halftime. We'll be right back after this.
Well, you've got to have an ace in the hole, a little secret that nobody knows. Life is a gamble, a game we all play, but you've got to save something for a rainy day. You've got to learn to play your cards right if you expect to win in life. Don't put it all on the line for just one roll. You've got to have an ace in the hole.
Welcome back, everybody. The bottom of the 5th inning is just around the corner. It looks like we've got a couple of changes for the Eagles. It looks like it is Yuya Ogo possibly in right field and in left field. Is that Tatsumi that they put out there? We're going to have to wait and take a look. Or was it a shift in change, moving the right fielder over into left? The first pitch swung on by Kiyomiya, grounded over to first, taken on the short hop by Asamura. And that is going to be a ground out to 3. So 1 pitch and 1 away here to start the 5th inning. And that'll bring up the left fielder in Nomura. We'll have to get you all those changes in just a couple of moments. Nice job there by Asamura, considering the base hit had eaten him up an inning earlier. So a good job by him. It is in left field. It is Muto has moved to left. That is the key there. It is Yuya Ogo who is in right field. Interesting. Haven't seen a whole lot of Ogo this year. considering he played in every single game last year for the Eagles. Only hitting 167 is Ogo, but that right now it doesn't really matter because it's Yuki Nomura at the plate who is in the hole at 0-1. Swings at a breaking ball, grounds it over to third. They throw to first base, and that is going to retire Nomura on a ground out 5-3. So 2 quick outs here in the 5th inning for the Fighters. That's going to leave it all up to the center fielder in Ryota Isabata. Spencer Howard is just clicking right along here. He's doing his part to speed the game along. Isabata coming to the plate 0 for 1 with a ground out today. I look at the ground outs to flyouts. Howard has 2 strikeouts to his name so far. So of the 14 outs of the ball game, at least by my counts, 2 have been by strikeout, 4 have been by balls in flight, and 8 have been on the ground. I'd have to do a double check on that, but I do believe that my mathematics would be correct. First pitch breaking ball taken by Isabata for a called strike. Counts 0-1. Howard delivers another breaking ball that misses way upstairs. Counts 1-1. If you're concerned about Spencer Howard's pitch count, he's only at 56 pitches so far here through in 4 2/3 innings. So we were talking about how far he could go. He could probably go another 2 or 3 more innings at this rate. Pitch on the way, fastball misses outside, and the count now goes to 2-1. I don't want to jump ahead of myself here. Probably jinx the American right-hander. I don't want to do that for sure. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Isabata waggling the bat. Pitch on the way. Fastball misses a bit low, and the count now goes to 3-0. That last pitch there was at 94 miles an hour on the gun. Friend M. Schroeder says, game feels like it should be 7-0. Yeah, there's a lot of facts to that there. The nothing part is easy for the Fighters. The Eagles have had their opportunities. Fastball center cut for a called strike, and the count now goes full to Isobata. Howard goes back to the rosin bag and ready to roll again here. As the right-hander ready to go. Here comes the pitch. Fastball delivered. Fly ball into shallow center field, racing in, sliding and making the catch. Oh, a nice catch there by the center fielder Nakashima. And that is going to do it here for the Fighters in their half of the 5th inning. He had to come a long way. He was able to make the catch, and Howard has been brilliant through his 5 innings of work. Only 1 hit allowed so far. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left the board. We're going to take ourselves a little time out. The top of the 6th is just around the corner. It is a 4-0 lead for the Golden Eagles. And we will be back in just a few with all the action for you. We return after some drumming from Chiba. Welcome back, everybody. A little late getting back into the saddle here as it's no balls and 2 strikes to the leadoff hitter, Nakashima. Here to start the 6th inning, and that fastball misses inside for a ball, and the count goes to 1-2. So a ball and 2 strikes. Just a little late getting back into the saddle as we were getting ourselves some new refreshments. There's a fastball swung on. This ball's going to be lined at right field. It's going to get down for a base hit. Nakashima's got his second hit of the ball game, a leadoff single here to start the 6th inning. It's going to bring up the third baseman in Itsuki Muribayashi. Well, for Muribayashi, 0 for 3 tonight. He has flown out to right field twice and struck out. As he comes to bat here to face the reliever Tamai for the first time. The runner, Nakashima, establishing his lead at first. And already squaring the bunt here is Muribayashi. They throw over to first, and diving back in time is the runner, Nakashima. Manager Mickey looking to make his decisions here. It's like playing chess, that is for certain. Again, squaring the bunt is Muribayashi. Want to try to get that runner into scoring position. He gets it down. It's a good one. It's going to be fielded by Tamaya. It's going to be a sacrifice, 1-4 on the putout here of Muribayashi. He's gone for the first out of the inning. Advancing over to second is Nakashima. It's going to bring up the second baseman in Fumiya Kurakawa to the plate. Well, for Kurakawa, he's enjoyed himself a nice evening tonight. He's got 3 hits already. He's got a home run and 2 singles to his name. He's accounted for 2 of the 4 Eagles runs. And he bats here from the left side. He started the night with a .293 batting average, and he's yanked it up over 300 to .302. As he steps in here ready to face the right-hander for the first time tonight. As Tamai had come on in relief in the last half inning. There's a fastball that just misses outside, and the count is 1-0 to Kurakawa. So 1 ball and no strikes. Waiting here on the offering is the left-handed hitting Kurakawa. The pitcher Tamai works himself to the set, now delivers. Fastball misses upstairs, and the count now goes to 2-0. So 2 balls and no strikes. Again, the left-handed hitting Kurakawa waiting. You can just see when guys are locked in the zone, they just have a whole other spectrum about him, and he looks like that tonight. There's a fastball that comes in and backs him off the plate, and the count now goes to 3-0. You wonder if this is that old intentional walk unintentionally, or unintentional intentional walk. Now they're going to pitch around him, but I wouldn't want to do that. You've got yourself Luke Voigt on deck. I don't want to put ducks on the pond. Now, I don't know if they held up the 4 fingers or if Kurakawa was actually hit on that last pitch. We're going to have to take a look. They might have just lifted the fingers to put him on so they could face Luke Voigt. And it's going to bring Voigt to the plate, who is 1 for 3 tonight. I know the pitch came inside. I didn't think it hit him, though. We'll have to take a peek and see where that sits. So they got runners at first and second here as Voigt steps to the plate. And our friend earlier, M. Schroeder, was saying it feels like a 7-0 game. Well, one of the swing of the bat here, and it could exactly be that, as that breaking ball misses down, and the count is 1-0 to Voigt. So 1 ball and no strikes. Voigt waggling the bat. So Kurakawa was delivered the walk. As I said, I think they might have just held that extra finger up. There's a fastball swung on. This ball is lifted into right field. Coming hard is Mizutani, and he drops the ball. It gets right through him. Everybody's going to advance a base. Oh, can't believe it. They're going to rule it as a hit. Oh, I don't know about that one. I mean, if you're Luke Voigt, you got to like it, but that's going to load the bases as everybody moves up a base. We're going to get a look at the replay on this one. Oh, you want to talk about some shoddy defense? This is the defense that we would have saw from the Fighters he just completely whiffed on it. It looked like it went over his forearm, not over the outstretched part of the glove. Like he may have even overran the ball. Nice play there by Isabata to back it up in center field, but Mizutani, oh boy. I have to get the carnival tent out, start playing some tunes, because that was one ugly looking play. And the pitching coach Kato had gone out to talk to his pitcher Tamai to settle him down. It's going to load the bases here for Hideto Asamura. Asamura stepping to the plate. He's 1 for 3 tonight. He's got a single and 3 trips. He's also struck out twice. Right-hander against the right-hander. As the first pitch is delivered, it's a breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count is 0-1 to Asamura. Unbelievable. Our friend Dem Schroeder says gross. That's probably the best way to put it. That had to be one of the most shoddy defensive plays I've seen in a while. I have to say, 2-3 years ago, the Fighters were absolutely abysmal defensively. And they've really cleaned up the game a lot, big time under Shinjo. Fastball swung on and fouled away. The count is 0-2, but those were the type of plays that you were watching regular 2 and 3 seasons ago. And that's what you get when you have young players and a young team and getting opportunities that maybe they wouldn't have elsewhere. But the Fighters defense has really turned it around in the back half of last season and into this year. But that was a howler. So no balls and 2 strikes here to Asamura as the right-hander Tamai delivers. There's a fastball that misses down, and the count goes to 1-2. Mr. D-Main in the house here. Thank you for popping in and making an appearance tonight. It is Eagles and Fighters, 4-0 for the Eagles here in the top of the 6th inning. They got the bases juiced and only 1 away. Asamura in the hole here at 1-2. Here's the pitch. Fastball misses outside, and the count now goes to 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rui Muniyama, the rookie, waiting on deck. And there's nowhere to put Asamura. So 2 things I think could happen here. We're going to see a base hit to drive in some runs, or it could be a double play ball. And there's a fastball swung on, lifted foul into the seats on the first base side. Asamura, in his day, has been able to do a lot of damage in this situation. Infield is in double play depth here for the Fighters. Asamura holds the bat just above shoulder level. He's waggling. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball misses outside. The count goes to 3-2 on Asamura. Well, he's got to come to him now. He's got to give him something to hit. As the Eagles here trying to add to their lead. 4-0 Eagles, bases loaded, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Asamura. 1 gone here. This is probably the most important pitch of the ball game to this point. As the right-hander Tamai works to the set, he checks the runner at second base. And now he kicks and delivers. Fastball swung on. This ball is going to be lifted foul. It's going to get sliced into the seats over on the first base side. And the count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes to Asamura. So the pitcher Tamai gets himself a new baseball. He rubs it up, and we're ready to go again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Asamura waiting here on the offering. Right-hander works himself again to the set. Checks the runners, now delivers. Fastball swung on and lifted foul into the seats again over on the first base side. And the battle continues. This is going to be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to be delivered to Asamura. So we're ready to go at it again as Tamai gets the baseball rubbed up. And he works himself into the set position at the belt. Here's the 3-2. Fastball misses upstairs. It's going to be ball 4. That's the terrible way to give up a run. He walks a run in. Asamura going to get an RBI. It's going to be one of the cheaper ones of his career. It's going to advance Voigt over to second. Over to third is Kurikawa, and it's going to score Nakashima with the 5th run of the ball game for the Tohoku Ball Club. And that is going to bring to the plate the shortstop in Rui Muniyama. Schroeder says the lack of control is sad. Yeah, the bullpen here, they have not been able to throw enough strikes. As he pointed out earlier, haven't been able to get ahead in the count. So Muniyama stepping to the plate. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He has a single and 2 trips. He's also drawn a walk. And the first pitch, breaking ball misses way outside. The count is 1-0. Muniyama singled and scored a run in the second inning. He was the 3rd run of the game, scored for the Eagles. He's also popped a short. And the pitch on the way, it's a breaking ball swung on. It's grounded to second. They go to second for 1, back to first. That's going to be an inning-ending double play. That is going to go into the books as a 4-6-3 variety. And the Eagles had an opportunity to do more damage, but unfortunately they didn't. And that is going to be it here. They got 1 run in the inning on the benefit of 2 hits. There was no errors, and there were 2 runners left aboard. Your score as we move now to the bottom of the 6th inning, it is the Eagles with a 5-0 lead over the Fighters. Stick around, everybody. We'll be back in just a few with all the action right after this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste. Hey, I hope you guys have been enjoying the game. My name is Hollis. I've got a YouTube channel called Another Hollis Build. I love baseball cards. I open up brand new product for you guys. I open up old stuff. I do breaks. I do auctions. All kinds of stuff concerning baseball. I'm Friars faithful, Padres to the end. I also love Garbage Pail Kids and my animals. I have a ton of animals. It's like a mini petting zoo here around my house. I also love my city. San Diego, baby. I take you all around the city and show you what's up. If you guys dig stuff like that, cruise on over and check it out. It's Another Hollis Build. If you dig it, subscribe. I'd really appreciate to have more follow me along on the journey. Hey, either way, you guys have a wonderful day or a beautiful, beautiful evening. No matter which one it is, make sure that you make it great, my friends. Big up Last Raps Baseball. Yeah, Freddie, let's go. One love and peace. Yeah, man.
Welcome back, everybody. We are moving ourselves to the bottom half of inning number 6. It's going to be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters to come to bat for the Fighters. That means Mizuno, Tamiya, and the top of the order in Mizutani. As it has been the Spencer Howard show up to this point so far in this one. So we're going to go back to the live action here. Howard. Mr. Domain says, for betting purposes, Hanshin or Yokohama? I would say tonight, really, they don't have a whole lot to play for, do the Tigers? They've already clinched the top spot. If it was me, I would be probably leaning to Yokohama. The game means a lot more to them at this point. That's just my feeling. And the first pitch from Howard is a fastball that misses outside. Only 60 pitches for the right-hander through the first 5 innings of work. So 1 ball and no strikes to Mizuno. As Mizuno waggling the bat, waiting on the offering here from the right-hander who kicks and fires. Fastball swung on and fouled away, and the count is 1-1. Schroeder says the total is surprisingly set at still at 7.5. Be curious. Yeah, I 7.5 on this one here. Be interesting to see what comes out of the bullpen the rest of the way for both of these teams. But at the way that Howard is pitching right now, he might be the bullpen. As that pitch was waved at and missed, it's 1-2 strikes to Mizuno. So as we both acknowledge, this game here has just taken, seems like forever to play. As there's a pitch that's down in the dirt. Gets away from the catcher, Oda, but it's going to run the count to 2-2 on Mizuno. So 2-2 strikes. Only 64 pitches for the American right-hander. That's the impressive part. So I would think he probably might even sniff the eighth. There's a fastball swung on and fouled away. Count remains at 2-2. And if you also take it one step further, Howard tonight has only gone to full counts on 2 hitters. And for an encore, this is only the 17th batter of the night that he's faced. Schroeder says, yeah, maybe Vegas is thinking a bagel by Schroeder. There's a split finger pitch swung on and fouled away, and the count remains at 2-2 to Mizuno. Yeah, you got to wonder who would be coming out of the bullpen with a 5-0 lead for the Eagles. At least that would be my thought. Who do they give the ball to with a 5-0 lead? There's a fastball swung on and missed, and Mizuno is in the books. He's gone for the first out of the inning via strikes, and that, by our count, is only the 3rd strikeout of the night, recorded by Spencer Howard. As I watch him pitch, I can understand why the Phillies were in love with him to draft him where they did. I can also appreciate the fact that the Rangers, the Guardians, the other teams he was with, I think San Francisco was on the docket. All of those other teams that had Howard in their camp, you can see why. I do like the way that he throws. Breaking ball misses outside, and the count is 1-0 to Ua Tamiya. Tamiya grounded out his first time up. It was the old 1-6-3. There's a breaking ball ticket for a called strike, and the count is 1-1. Mr. Demain says, who's the best foreign pitcher to play in Japan? No major league experience or very little. That's an interesting question. There is a fastball that misses off the outside corner. They peel over to the third base umpire, but they said that Tamiya didn't go. It's 2-1. I honestly really don't have an answer for you on that. I'd have to give it some thought. I mean, there's been guys that have gone over there that have rebuilt careers and gone back to Major League Baseball. There's a fastball taken for a called strike. The most recent, at least in my mind, would have been Miles Michaelis, who's with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he was with the Yomiuri Giants, I believe, for 3 seasons. So he'd be a guy that would have went over there with not much or not a lot of big-time fanfare. There's a split-finger pitch that swung on and missed. Tamiya's in the book, so back-to-back strikeouts here to start the 6th inning for Spencer Howard. That's going to bring up the top of the order in Shun Mizutani. Well, for Mizutani, he's 0 for 2 tonight, but it was the whiff on that play in the outfield that last half inning that raised my eyebrows. That was not a very good defensive play. It ended up leading, or contributing, I should say, to the 5th run. M. Schroeder says Michaelis got rocked this year. Yeah, I think Michaelis, and when he did come back, he was on the wrong side of 30. Breaking ball that misses inside for ball 1. I think a guy that you want to keep an eye on is Foster Griffin of the Yomiuri Giants. He played a little bit with was first-round pick of the Kansas City Royals. Breaking ball taken for called strike. The count's 1-1. He was with the Blue Jays for a cup of coffee, but he's getting an opportunity to build up some points in Japan, and I would say that he'd be a guy that I might say keep an eye on him, maybe as a bounce-back candidate. Fastball misses down. It's now 2-1. certainly has an arm. I think you see more offensive players that seemingly might get a chance to come back. I'd say that keep your eye on Trey Cabbage, but sometimes the players, as there's a fastball swung on and fouled away by Mizutani, and the count's now 2-2. You look at some players, they go there and they stay, like Brandon Laird. He ended up with I think it was like an 8-year NPB career. Not going to get an opportunity in Major League Baseball. Almost like a 4A player, too good for AAA, not good enough for the big leagues. So stay in Japan, collect some money, get some paydays, take care of yourself. So the count here is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mizutani. He had to go get himself a new piece of lumber. As the pitch is on the way, and then is a fastball that just misses down and away. It's now 3-2. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. As we said, this ball game here, taking a good old-fashioned long time to be able to play. 3-2 pitch coming. Breaking ball swung on, lifted into left center field. Moving over underneath it, and plenty of room to make the catch as the center fielder Nakashima, and that is going to do it as Mizutani's going to be gone for out number 3. And that'll do it here for the Fighters and their half of the 6th inning. It looks like the big boss is coming out to make a pitching change. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left the board. We are through 6 complete innings. 2/3 of the game is in the books. It is the Eagles with a 5-0 lead over the Fighters. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few on the Last Rounds Baseball YouTube channel. Haven't seen enough of Steve tonight, so we'll keep you entertained with him. We'll be right back in just a bit.
Hello, guys. Thank you for joining Freddie here on his baseball game. And I'm Steve Rademacher, and my channel is really all about everybody, including all my international friends. We have such stuff as non-sport packs from Canada, the OP Cheese. We have the Greek Freak. We have money from around the world. We have lira. We have yen. We have francs. We have pounds. We have Deutschmarks. We have all kinds of cool stuff like that. We even have some cooler things like Japanese women wrestlers and OPC baseball cards where I cannot read the back. We even have unopened material like the royal family, I know it's backwards, from London, England. Thank you for watching. Back to Freddie.
Welcome back, Steve. It is going to be a pitching change as the Fighters are going to their bullpen yet again, and they are turning to a right-hander. We're just trying to wait to see exactly who it is. And I have a feeling, are we going to see another Taiwanese pitcher? It is. It is going to be Gu Lin Ryu Yang. We were talking about earlier on, the former MVP of the Taiwanese League, making his 7th appearance of the year with a 3.26 ERA. So I'm intrigued to see him. I've never seen him pitch live before. I've seen a couple of his highlights, but nothing in terms of live stuff. He'll be the 5th pitcher used tonight. And so Ryu Yang on in relief. And who's he set to face? Well, it is going to be Yuya Ogo, and then it'll be Hikaru Oda and Atsuki Muto. And the first pitch is a breaking ball that misses down and in, and the count is 1-0. Curious to see. That first pitch looked very over the top. So I'm interested to see what this is going to look like as the right-hander ready to go. Kicks and delivers. There's a fastball that misses outside. That was at 94 miles an hour, so he's got some life in the fastball. But again, he follows the trend of the rest of the Fighters not being able to get ahead in the count. Again, the right-hander kicks and delivers. There's a fastball that misses inside, and the count now goes to 3-0. It doesn't really matter what level of the sport you play at. If you can't throw enough strikes, you are in a lot of trouble as a pitcher. Especially today in Major League Baseball, there's a pile of guys who can run it up into the upper 90s. Fastball taken for a called strike, and the count goes to 3-1 on Ogo. It's because you throw in the mid-upper 90s doesn't necessarily guarantee that you can actually pitch. Got to hit a spot sometimes. There's a fastball swung on, and it's lifted foul into the seats behind home plate. The count goes to 3-2. So 3 balls and 2 strikes it remains. Again, the right-hander looking to come all the way back from the 3-0 spot that he got himself in to start with this batter, Ogo, and the pitch on the way. Fastball swung on, grounded up the middle into center field for a base hit, and Ogo is aboard with a leadoff single. And that is going to bring up the catcher in Hikaru Oda. 10th hit of the ball game recorded so far for the Eagles tonight. Both teams have a 1 in their hit total. The difference is the Eagles have a 0 after theirs. And the Fighters, well, they've only got 1. So that brings to the plate the catcher Oda, and he's already squaring to bunt. That's probably a good decision. Oda is a sacrifice bunt machine. There's a fastball that misses down. Count is quickly 1 balls and no strikes to Oda. Oda tonight's been hit by a pitch. He has singled and he has popped out to the catcher. I think the total distance of the balls that he has put in play can't be more than about 20 feet. Here's the 1-0. Again, he squares the bunt, and this time he takes a fastball at the knees for a called strike, and the count is 1-1. M. Schroeder says, where would you rank the Fighters' bullpen? That's a good question. I'd have to almost say, I don't know if the Fighters' bullpen, well, when they've got the lead, it's a little different. Right now, they don't have the lead. And they're basically throwing guys that they wouldn't. But when you look at the pitchers who they would bring in with the lead, as that pitch misses down to Oda, it's 2 balls and 1 strike. So, you think about it. Yeah, you got, Segura on the back end. I think Tanaka's on your back end. I think Saito is also on the back end as well there. So, you've got some guys that you get to the 7th and 8th inning. Ball's bunted right back to the pitcher. Oh, boy, and Guilin fields it. He throws to first to the second baseman covering, and he almost fired it down the right field line. Oh, but they did get the out. But that is not one out that you would think that they would have got. He almost airmailed it. It's going to be a sacrifice. It's going to go in the books 1-4. Advancing to second is going to be Ogo. Gone for the first out of the inning is Oda on the sacrifice. Nice job there by the second baseman Kazunori Ishii to walk the ladder to get it. That is going to bring up the now left fielder Atsuki Muto. And for Muto tonight, well, he is officially 0 for 1. He struck out his last time up, but he did have a sacrifice bunt and a walk in his other 2 trips. Batting only .217 on the year. And the first pitch is a fastball that misses down, and the count is 1-0. That's been my big thing here, is falling behind in the counts and then struggling with the back-end hitters. These guys are the lower part of the batting order. Let them swing the bat. Let them see what happens. I mean, I know you got to be good. You don't have to be too good against some of these guys. There's a split finger pitch that misses down, and the count now goes to 2-0. Nothing more drives you crazy as the bottom part of the order sets the table for the top part of the order. So if I think about it, I'm not sure I really like the Hawks bullpen these days with if Osuna and Hernandez and some of the others are firing on all cylinders. It's pretty good. Fastball swung on and fouled away. The count is 2-1. I do like the lion pen. Schroeder says it feels like every first hitter has gotten on base. And you are absolutely correct. 7 innings and 7 batters have reached base to lead off the inning. So it hasn't felt like it is exactly what that is. And nobody's been erased in like a fielder's choice for a double play. If you want to take it one step further, 4 of those 6 batters have all scored a run. There's a fly ball into center field. Moving over underneath it is Isobata. He's there to make the catch, and that's going to retire Muto for the second out of the inning. So that brings Nakashima to the plate, the leadoff hitter. He is 2 for 4 in this one. He's got a single and a double. He's scored a couple of runs. He's driven in a run. He's also bounced into a fielder's choice and flown to right. So when you think about it, the leadoff batters getting on, not including this inning because it's not over yet, they are 4 for 6 in scoring runs. It's a pretty good clip. Breaking ball taken for a called strike, and the count is 0-1 to Nakashima. Jury is out on Ogo here in this inning. Of course, he is at second base with 2 gone. 5-0 Eagles have the lead. Right-hander Gu Lin kicks and delivers. There's a breaking ball swung on and tap foul over on the first base side, and the count remains 0-2. Bottom of the 7th inning, it is the Buffaloes still enjoying a 1-0 lead over the Hawks. 2-2 top of the 8th inning as the Bay Stars are locked up in that game with the Tigers. This game here, 5-0 for the Eagles in the top of the 7th. We are getting into the deep water, though. Lin kicks and delivers. There's a fastball swung on. It's grounded foul over on the first base side, and the count remains at 0-2 to Nakashima. So no balls and 2 strikes. Again, the right-hander works himself to the belt. Checks the runner over at second. And Gulen ready to deliver. Pitch on the way. Fastball missing upstairs. He reared back on that one. That was at 96 on the gun. Put a little extra on that one for Nakashima. So 1 ball and 2 strikes it is. He has thrown 18 pitches, has this right-hander. And 8 of them have been balls, so only 10 for strikes, just over the 50% rule. While there's another ball upstairs, it almost gets away from the catcher. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes as he approaches the 50% rule. Drives be crackers when you got guys who can't throw strikes. And to our point here tonight, when you do throw strikes, you're certainly going to be able to get ahead in the count. Here's the breaking ball that swung on and is chopped foul right behind home plate. And the battle continues here with Nakashima. We do thank everybody who has joined us here tonight. And whether you listen live or on delay, it's great to have you with us on the Last Drafts Baseball YouTube channel. Again, the right-hander works himself to the set. Here's the 2-2. Kicks and delivers. Fastball swung on, chopped over to the right side. Fielded by Ishii. Throws to first, and he's going to retire Nakashima on a ground out 4-3 for the 3rd out of the inning, and that is going to do it here for the Golden Eagles in their half of the 7th. Well, no runs in the inning. They did give up a hit, no errors, and 1 left aboard. Your score as we move to the bottom half of inning number 7, it is a 5-0 lead for the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles over the Hokkaido Nippon-Ham Fighters. Stick around, everybody. Take me out to the ball game. Who's now with us? Welcome back, everybody. It's the 2, 3, and 4 hitters to come to bat for the Fighters. Howard has already delivered the first 2 pitches. The first was a breaking ball that was taken for a called strike, and then he just missed with another breaking ball. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Ishii. Another breaking ball misses outside. The count now goes to 2-1. 78 pitches through 6 innings for the American right-hander, as he is, at least in my eyes, I got to think that this might be the last inning for him. I'd be curious to see if they ran him up beyond this. I projected that he might be 85 pitches could be where he is at. Fastball swung on and grounded over to the right side. Count goes to 2-2 on Ishii. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. And again, the right-hander works himself to the belt. And here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's a split-finger pitch swung on it as golf foul into the seats over on the left field line. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes that it remains on Ishii. Just don't look like they have had any really good swings tonight off of Howard here. And there's one right there. Fastball swung on, lifted into right field. And coming in hard, but it's going to be stopped on the short hop by Ogo. Just as the words were coming out of my mouth, Kazunori Ishii has now both of the hits for the Fighters. He had the one that I thought maybe could have been an error charged to Asamura. He ended up with a base hit. And then this one here, a base hit down the right field line. And now it is a leadoff single here for the Fighters. That'll bring up Franmil Reyes to the plate. Not that we're predicting ill will to the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles, but a home run here would sure change the complexion of this ball game. And the first pitch is a breaking ball that is swung on and fouled away, and the count is quickly 0-1 to Reyes. Reyes tonight has grounded out and struck out in his 2 trips to the plate. Big fella batting from the right side here against Spencer Howard. As Howard works himself to the belt, he checks the runner. Now he kicks and fires. There's a fastball that just misses outside. Count now even at 1-1. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball delivered to Reyes. It swung on and fouled straight back, and the count is 1-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes it is. Crowd in good spirits in Hokkaido for this one. As the right-handed hitting Reyes waggling the bats, even though their team is down by a 5 spot. As the pitch on the way, another fastball swung on and another one fouled straight back, and the count remains at 1-2 to Reyes. Some way I have to say it's been fun to watch Howard pitch tonight, but I don't know what his real out pitch is. There's a breaking ball swung on and it's fouled off into Reyes. You know, sometimes you'll see guys, they got an overpowering fastball. You see some guys, they've got a nasty slider or a pretty good curveball. You think of pitchers over the years, or maybe they have just outstanding pinpoint control. Not really sure what I would call Howard's out pitch. There's nothing that really pops for me here on anything. His fastball runs, but not a lot. 1-2 on the way. Fastball just misses off the outside corner, and the count's now 2-2 to Reyes. 90 pitches now for the American right-hander, and I got to think that got to be thinking about the bullpen here at some point. This may be his last inning of work. Again, the right-hander works himself to the set, and the pitch on the way. Breaking ball swung on and missed. And that's going to retire Reyes. He's going to be gone for the first out of the inning. Second time tonight, he's been down on strikes. Again, I was thinking about what the pure out pitch would be. When I look at the strikeout totals tonight, he's got 5 to his name now. Does Howard. As that is going to bring up to the plate Yuya Gunji. Gunji tonight 0 for 2, has grounded to short and has flown to right. Season average at 302. So the right-hander again working to the belt now delivers. First pitch, breaking ball, swung on and missed. The count is quickly 0-1. You sometimes think about Major League Baseball players, guys that have wipeout stuff. You've got to think that if you're fortunate, you might have 2 pitches that are absolute wipeout. I think of Aroldis Chapman a few years ago, fastball and his slider, 2 wipeout pitches. Fastball misses outside. Count goes to 1-1 on Gunji. What are the devastating pitchers that pitches would have? You think about a guy like Devin Williams, who really struggled with the Yankees this year, but best pitch is a lights-out changeup. Greg Olson years ago used to be a curveball for the Baltimore Orioles. Mariano Rivera was a cutter. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball floats inside. And now time has been called. Oh, we might have a problem here. Or do we? That last pitch there, Spencer Howard took a strange step off the mound. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. The catcher has called for time, and they're calling for the trainer and the pitching coach. Well, that's not a good sign for Tohoku, and it's not a good sign for Howard. The pitch missed up and in. It's the pitching coach, Ishii, who has come to the mound. And I think that's going to be it. Howard's walking off the mound. I don't think they're going to make any further decisions. That is going to be it. It was really, really strange. You could tell that on the delivery there that something had happened, just the way that the catcher was and Howard was. I think his night's going to be finished. I think they're going to have to make a call to the bullpen here. So his night is done. A sparkling outing for Howard. He is going to leave here with a 2-1 count to Gunji. I don't think they're going to. I'm going to watch that one again as he went to deliver. And the next thing you know, the pitch was up. And as soon as he delivered the pitch, he was calling for the trainer immediately. So he knew something was up. That's not a good thing. I feel bad for that young fella there. He threw a changeup. It was a change piece that he had thrown, and the pitch was up and kind of had floated inside, and immediately called for the trainer and for the staff. He's at 94 pitches. And so for those of you who are listening in with us here tonight, I would assume, I don't want to assume what the injury would be to him, but I would assume here now that the ball game was there, our friend M. Schroeder, who's been listening in and telling us what the over-under would be, I have a feeling that over-under could potentially change. We're going to have a pitching change on our hands here. I'm going to go and refresh my tee. Hang tight, everybody. We'll be back in just a couple moments. They do have a left-hander up and throwing. It looks like it's Suzuki in the bullpen. We'll have to wait and see what this is all about when we come back in just a couple of moments. Looks like the night is done for the right-hander Spencer Howard. Welcome back, everybody. We do have a pitching change coming up for the Golden Eagles, as that is going to be the end of the night for Spencer Howard. It looks like 94 pitches, and he is going to leave the game due to injury. Yuya Gunji has a 2-ball-and-1-strike count on him. Looks like it is the left-hander Suzuki who is coming into the ball game. It is number 56, Sora Suzuki, as he will take over here. So we still have his tune-up tosses to contend with here. A great outing for Howard. And now the Eagles bullpen will be tested here to try to bring this one home here tonight. Hang tight, everybody. We'll be back in just a couple moments. It is a 5-0 Golden Eagles lead, but this has changed the dynamic of the game for sure. We'll be right back after this. M. Schroeder says, surprisingly, the total's down to 7 from 7.5. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. We'll be right back in 30 after this. Welcome back, everybody. Sora Suzuki is just completing his tune-up tosses, and we'll be ready to resume the action here in just a couple moments. Just to give you the update here, Kazunori Ishii led off the 7th here with a single. Franmil Reyes struck out, and the third pitch to Gunji, Spencer Howard immediately called to the dugout for the trainer. Pitching coach came out, and there wasn't even much of a discussion. He knew something had happened, and he's walked off the mound. As I said, kind of a disappointing piece for him, as he had pitched pretty well. My guess was before the game started, he'd get to 85. 94 pitches, and there you go. Your night is done. So not only is his night done, I wonder if his season would be over with. I guess we're going to have to wait and see on that. So here we go. Sora Suzuki taking over with a 2-1 count. And the pitch coming here to Gunji. Fastball swung on, and it's going to be fouled away into the seats over on the first base side. Home plate, and the count is 2-2. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Looking at the out-of-town scoreboard for updates elsewhere, it is still 2-2, top of the ninth inning. Bay Stars and Tigers, 1-0, bottom of the eighth. Buffalo's enjoying that 1-0 lead. So here comes the 2-2 from Suzuki as he holds to the set. And now he kicks and delivers. There's a fastball that misses outside. Count now 3-2 to Gunji. And this is exactly where, in Major League Baseball, everything starts to go awry as well. We're talking about Major League Baseball. I was talking to some friends of mine, and we were saying about how they were using openers for quite a bit. I wonder, now that Major League Baseball is in bed with gamblers, how it's going to change the game. They're going to use openers for that. Fastball misses down, that's going to be ball 4. And it just makes it harder. It's just like, for example, you get into the bullpens, it changes the entire dynamic and complexion of the game. Quicker you can get the starter out of the ball game, then it goes into who knows what. And for those of you who don't know, we talk sometimes about the Major League Baseball, and I'm a fan of the Detroit Tigers. I make no bones about it. One of my problems is in watching the Tigers play, I felt this year that they really overused their bullpen. I thought they bled it out last year and did pretty good, but I thought this year was using the bullpen too much. And I would say that too in some of the cases in the NPB. Do they overuse the bullpens? The starters get you 6. Sometimes the starters go 7 or 8. But the more use of the bullpen, the more difficult it is. There's a fastball swung on and missed. Count is 0-1. There used to be a pitcher who played for the Detroit Tigers. First major league player born in Saudi Arabia was a guy named Alex Wilson. We used to call him Everyday Alex. He threw, I think, 1 year about 70 some odd games for Detroit. It seemed like he was up every other game. Here comes the 0-1 pitch as the lefty Suzuki delivers. It's a breaking ball waved at and missed, and the count now 0-2 to Kotaro Kiyomiya. So no balls and 2 strikes. Well, that was, going back 10, 15 years ago with Wilson coming out of the pen. Now it looks like that there's going to be 5 or 6 Tiger arms out of the pen that are going to go 60 or more innings. That includes the guys who came over in trades. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, and it's going to be lifted foul into the seats over on the third base side. The count is 0-2 to Kiyomiya. So the point I'm getting at is that when you look at all the bullpen arms and that are used, you start to see these guys. They're almost like chopped liver. You end up getting to see the guys, and they just roll right through them. Their effectiveness becomes a lot less. Our friend M. Schroeder says the Rays started that awful bullpen trend. I would go back even further than that. I would go back into the late 80s, early 90s. I would point my finger right at Lou Piniella when he had the nasty boys of Charlton and Dibble. Here's the 0-2. Fastball misses up, and the count is 1-2. Where it was like, let's get us 6 innings out of our starter. Let's get the sprint, and then we can, or at least 7 innings, then we could turn it over to the nasty boys on the back end of the ball game. And of course, a lot of these teams have taken it to another level today. So here comes the 1-2 pitch as the lefty holds to the set and now delivers. There's a breaking ball down. They say that Kiyomiya went around. The home plate umpire went up with the right hand. And Kiyomiya is going to be retired on strikes for the second out of the inning. He's down. And that is going to leave it all up to the left fielder in Yuki Nomura. Well, for Nomura, he is 0 for 2 tonight. He has struck out and grounded out in his 2 trips. And he is going to be entrusted here to try to drive in the first runs of the game for the Fighters. So Sora Suzuki trying to get himself out of this jam. As the lefty works to the set, here's the pitch. It's a breaking ball that misses down, and the count is 1-0. I do believe that runner, I do believe Gunji would be considered to be charged, or it was the Gunji was the batter when Spencer Howard got hurt. He had started the batter. It was Suzuki had finished it off. I do believe that the batter is responsible, or the runner is responsible to Howard, as that fastball is taken for a called strike, and the count's 1-1. So technically, the first batter faced would have been the strikeout to Kiyomiya. So 2 gone here. Runners at first and second. As the lefty holds to the set, now delivers. Breaking ball misses down, and the count now goes to 2-1. So 2 balls and 1 strike. Nomura looking to do some damage here against Suzuki. This would change the game here if the Fighters could get themselves a run or two. Here comes the 2-1. Pitch on the way. Breaking ball misses down. It's 3-1 now to Nomura. Ryota Isabata waiting his turn on deck. If you just joined us, it's been all Eagles to this point. That doesn't mean a whole lot right now. 3 hours and 3 minutes deep into this one. If you would have asked us before this game started, I would have thought we would have been at a much quicker pace. This game here has been a bit of a slog. Here's the 3-1. Fastball swung on. Oh, I think that Nomura wants that one back. He's fouled that one off. Yep, he's punching himself on the top of the helmet. That tells you right there that he's missed the pitch that he wanted. Pitch was middle away and lifted into the seats down the right field line. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runners are going to be on the move here as Ishii and Gunji are waiting here on the offering as the right-handed hitting. Nomura waits on the payoff pitch. And there go the runners. The pitch is a breaking ball swung on. It is lifted into left center field. Deep, going back at the edge of the warning track and making the catch is the center fielder Nakashima, and that is going to do it as Nomura is going to be gone for the 3rd out of the inning. Well, the Fighters, they threatened, but they don't score. They had no runs in the inning. They had a pair of hits. There was no errors, and there was 2 left the board. We're now through 7 complete. Your score is the Eagles 5 and the Fighters no score. Stick around, everybody. The top of the 8th inning is just around the corner when we come back after this timeout.
Well, you got to have an ace in the hole, a little secret that nobody knows. Life is a gamble, a game we all play, but you've got to save something for a rainy day. You've got to learn to play your cards right if you expect to win in life. Don't put it all on the line for just one roll. You've got to have an ace in the hole.
Welcome back, everybody. Coming to bat here for the Eagles in the 8th inning. It is going to be Muribayashi Kurikawa and Luke Voigt. The Taiwanese right-hander Gu Lin Ryu Yang is on in relief. 21 pitches in his first inning as he delivers a fastball that misses down for a ball, and the count is 1-0 to Muribayashi. Muribayashi officially 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out, flown out twice, and has a sacrifice bunt to his name. Swings at a fastball, grounds it over to second. Ishii fields it, he throws to first, and 1 up and 1 away here for the Eagles. And they're half of the 8th inning, and that'll bring up the second baseman in Fumiya Kurakawa. Well, for Kurakawa tonight, he has been on base every time he's come to bat. He has 2 singles, a walk, and a home run. He's driven in a pair of runs, and he's scored a pair of runs, so he has been involved in 4 of the 5 runs that the Eagles have scored, as he takes a breaking ball for a called strike. The count is 0-1. So no balls and 1 strike. Again, the right-hander ready to go again. As he is ready to go, he kicks and fires. There is a breaking ball swung on it. It's going to be lined over the head of the third baseman, Gunji, into left field. Rounding first and slamming on the brakes is going to be Kurakawa. So yet another hit for him. He's 4 for 4 now tonight. Really doesn't matter who they put on the mound. He is up there ready to hit. So his 4th hit on base all 5 times he's come to the plate. That is going to bring up the designated hitter in Luke Voigt. Very impressive. Well, for Voigt, he is 2 for 4 in this one. He's got a pair of singles to go with a fly out to right field, and he's been called out on strikes. As the right-hander delivers, there's a breaking ball that misses upstairs, and the count is 1-0. So 1 ball and no strikes to Voigt. Voigt has raised his season average to 288. As Guilin holds to the set, now delivers. There's a fastball swung on. This ball is lifted into deep right field, but not deep enough. Ahead of the warning track and making the catch is the right fielder Mizutani, and that's going to retire Voigt for the second out of the inning. And that is going to leave it all up to the first baseman in Hideto Asamura. Well, for Asamura, he is 1 for 3 tonight. He's got a single and 3 trips. He's got a walk, and he's driven in a run. Batting from the right side here against the right-handed throwing Guilin, the Taiwanese right-hander ready to go. Kicks and delivers. There's a breaking ball that misses down, and the count goes to 1-0 on Asamura. Again, the right-hander working to the set. Guilin holds and delivers. Breaking ball taken for a called strike, and the count now goes to 1-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. So there's a pitch that misses upstairs. Count goes now to 2-1 on Asamura. I haven't really seen much of Guilin, me personally. So I'm always curious to see how these pitchers look. They come from other leagues. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Fastball swung on and missed. Blew it right by him at 94. Count now 2-2 to Asamura. So 2 balls and 2 strikes as the right-hander works himself to the set position. Here comes the 2-2. Pitch on the way. Fastball swung on. This is lifted into deep right field. This ball could be trouble. And this ball is going to be gone. A home run for Hideto Asamura. Well, there's your score of 7-0. As Asamura goes the other way, deposits a 2-run shot into the Fighters bullpen. And that is going to give them a 7-0 lead. Our good friend here, M. Schroeder, saying a game felt like a 7-0 game. Well, there it is. It is now 7-0 here for the Eagles. That is the second hit of the night, the third RBI, second and third RBIs tonight for the right-handed hitting Asamura. And the Eagles are flexing their muscles and flapping their wings as they now have themselves a 7-0 lead. And that brings to the plate Rui Muniyama, and the first pitch to him is a breaking ball that misses down and in, and the count is 1-0. So 1 ball and no strikes to Muniyama. M. Schroeder said, played with fire all night. Well, hey, listen, I guess there's one piece of success. You didn't walk or let the leadoff guy get on. You just couldn't get that third out. Fastball misses upstairs, counts 2-0. So the Fighters have 6 outs left to play with here. Curious to see what the Eagles are going to try to shut this game down with. The 7-0 lead. There's a fastball that misses down. It's now 3-0. Not only did the starter, Sun Yi Lai, struggle with his command, so too is Gu Lin. As the 3-0 is on the way, fastball misses outside. It's ball 4. That's going to draw a walk. Muniyama is going to make his way over to first. Going to bring the pitching coach out of the Fighters dugout. And it's slated to bring up to the plate Yuya Ogo. So we've got ourselves a conference on the mound here. Probably going through the ability to throw strikes. That pitch was fastball on the outside part of the plate, caught too much of it as Asamura went the other way. Asamura, pretty strong guy, and that for him on the season, home run number 9. As we mentioned, it looks like his power days, or a lot of his power, has disappeared. So here comes the first offering to Yuya Ogo. It's a fastball swung on and missed. Count is quickly 0-1. Top of the 8th inning, Eagles with a 7-0 lead. And the 0-1 on the way. Fastball swung on and lifted foul into the seats down the third base line. Count is now 0-2. Top of the 9th inning, Buffalo still have a 1-0 lead against the Hawks. Top of the 10th inning, it is Yokohama and the Tigers 2-2. All the other games get going in about 45 minutes time. This is certainly one way to keep the action going. There's a split finger pitch swung on and missed, and Ogo's in the books. He's gone for the third out of the inning. And mercifully, the inning is over for the Fighters. 2 runs in the inning on the benefit of 2 hits. No errors, 1 runner left aboard. Your score as we move to the bottom of the 8th inning. It is a 7-0 Eagles lead. I anticipate another pitching change. I think it's time for me to go refresh my tea. Hopefully you guys are still with us when I come back in just a couple moments right after this timeout. Well, we got a 7-0 scoreline, and we'll be back in just a couple moments to try to bring this one home for you right after this timeout. Welcome back, everybody. The Taiwanese theme is still with us. It'll be Chihao Sung that is coming into the ball game, as he will be taking over here for the Tohoku Rakuten Golden Eagles, the third pitcher used tonight. So Chihao Sung in the game. We have seen Sung pitch in the past. And to be fair, probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago was his best time in the games. There are some defensive substitutions for the Golden Eagles. We'll have to get those for you as they come about here. We'll keep our eye peeled on that. As the first pitch on the way is a fastball swung on. This ball is lined into right field. Moving over is Ogo, and he's going to make the catch. Oh, that ball was hit right on the screws by Ryota Isabata. And that is going to retire him for the first out of the innings. So one gone here. That'll bring up the shortstop in Tatsuki Mizuno. Have to see if they're going to start maybe thinking about putting some pinch hitters in the ballgame, or if they'll give some players a rest here the rest of the way. But not so much here. Mizuno at the plate tonight, 0 for 2, ground out and a strikeout. And the first pitch coming from Sung is swung on, and this is going to be grounded into deep in the into shallow center field behind second base, fielded on the backhand by Kobakata, and he's going to throw to first, and that is going to retire Mizuno. That is the one defensive change. Ground out 4-3. So 2 pitches and 2 outs here. And that is going to bring up the catcher in Yua Tamiya. So interesting that Hiroto Kawakata, he will actually go into the batting order in the 5th spot. He goes in for Hideto Asamura. Kurakawa has moved over to play first base. So those are the changes. Here's the pitch. Fastball swung on and missed, and the count is quickly 0-1 to Yua Tamiya. Right-hander Sung holds to the set. Now the 0-1 on the way. Fastball swung on and lifted foul over on the third base side of home plate. And the count is quickly 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes. Kind of curious about Kobakata, where he sort of fits into this big scheme of things. Former first overall pick in the 2019 draft. As he was playing with Osaka Gas. Pitch on the way. Fastball misses down. It's now 1-2 to Tamiya. He has 28 stolen bases this year. His career high. Kobakata is 36. But his at-bats and his plate appearances are down significantly. I don't know if that's due to injury or due to maybe a shift in the philosophy of who is going to play in the middle infield for the Golden Eagles. Pitch on the way, grounded softly over to the right side of the infield. They go to second. It's going to be a fielder's choice. I don't know what happened there. It looked like that we lost the runner somewhere in that spot. It looked like either it was a ground out 4-3 as Mizuno was supposed to have been retired, but it looked like there may have been an error on the play that had taken the runner off of the base, or the play off the base. I'll have to get you that update there in a second. I thought that was easily a ground out. It looks like that Mizuno had beaten that out. They gave him a hit on that. That's a bit strange. That was the one that was in the shallow center field. Well, regardless, fielder's choice here. That's going to go in the books as a 3-6 putout to retire Mizuno for the second out of the inning. I guess we're one play away. As Mizutani swings through the first pitch for a strike, count as 0-1. Mizutani 0 for 3 tonight, has flown to center twice and also to left field. And there's a pitch that's down in the dirt, and the count goes even to 1-1. So Tamiya, the runner at first. Mizutani even in the count at 1-1. Mizutani holds his hands apart before he brings it down the bat. I don't know if he does that as if he wants to show it a bunt. Here's the 1-1. Fastball on the outside corner for called strike. The count is 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes it is. We are running out of time here, or the Fighters are running out of time. When I started tonight, I said, I wonder if this game will go 3 hours. Well, I should be wondering if it's going to go 4. Fastball misses down. Count goes to 2-2 on Mizutani. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, the right-hander saw working to the belt. And the 2-2 forthcoming. On the way, fastball swung on, and it's chopped foul over on the third base side. Count's going to stay at 2-2 as Mizutani hops around. He fouled that off into his feet. As the trainer comes out to pay a visit to him, may have got it in an area that wasn't covered by the shin guard. Looks like he was rubbing more up the way. I don't know. Maybe it actually was fouled off and bounced up into him rather than fouled directly. So Mizutani going to walk it off after getting some of the magic spray. I wonder what that magic spray does. I've never experienced any of that before. Does it numb the area? That's what I'd be interested in knowing, that feeling. So we'd have to maybe go and consult with the soccer players. They would probably know the best. So here comes the 2-2 pitch. Again, Song leaning in, and now he's going to step off the backside of the rubber. And we're going to cycle through the signs here. So here comes the 2-2 pitch. On the way, fastball swung on and missed, and Song does his job as he comes in and does a pretty good job in the 9th inning. No runs in the inning. There was a hit, no errors, and there was a runner left the board. You're now moving to the top of the 9th inning. Your score is the Eagles 7, the Fighters no score. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be back in just a few right after this. Trying to bring it home for you here in the 9th inning. Right back after this timeout from our good friend Steve Rademacher. Go join him for a beer when you get a chance. Here's Steve.
Oh, hello. Oh, hey. Yep. I'm just sitting here listening to Freddie call another game here on YouTube. Oh, yeah, going really good. He's calling a great game. Really exciting. Lots of stuff going on. You're lucky it's commercial break right now. I got a second. Oh, yeah, of course I'm having a cold one. Oh, yeah, I got plenty of videos coming up this week. You should stop in, check them out, leave a like, tell other people. But, Freddie's coming back. I got to go catch the game. I will check in with you later. You have a good night, buddy. Bye.
Welcome back, everybody. It's going to be the sixth pitcher used tonight by the Fighters. It is going to be Toshiro Segura, as he will take over here for Gu Lin Ryu Yang. So it will be the right-hander who is completing his tune-up tosses. So Toshiro Segura on in relief. And he is going to be facing the 8 and 9 and 1 hitters to come to bat in the batting order. Got to tell you, that view that they have at the ballpark at Escon Field in Hokkaido, absolutely brilliant. Straightaway center field. You can see the sun setting. No dome open today, though. Kind of curious how often. We've only seen the dome open a couple of times, or the roof. I wonder how often that they would be able to pop that thing open for a nice day at the park. There's a first pitch fastball taken for a called strike. The count is 0-1 to Oda. Oda today is officially 1 for 2. He's got a single and 2 trips. He's been hit by a pitch, and he has a sacrifice bunt. Breaking ball misses down, and the count goes even to 1-1. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Right-hander Segura working and delivers. Breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count now goes to 1-2. Muto and the top of the order, Nakashima, to follow. As the right-hander delivers, there's a split finger swung on and missed, and Oda is retired on strikes. He's gone for the first out of the inning. So 1 gone. That'll bring up the right fielder in Atsuki Muto. So Muto comes to bat. Officially 0 for 2. He's walked and had a sacrifice. First pitch on the way. Fastball misses way inside. Moves Muto off the plate. So 1 ball and no strikes. Right-hander kicks and delivers. There's a fastball that misses down, and the count now goes to 2-0. On the way. Breaking ball taken for a called strike. The count now goes to 2-1 on Muto. Top of the 9th inning, 7-0. The Eagles enjoying the lead here. It's been all Eagles tonight. Split finger pitch swung on and missed, and now we're even up at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Muto. It's been a pitching parade thus far for the Fighters, as this is the 6th pitcher used by them tonight. Segura delivers. Fastball swung on, grounded over to first. Kiyomiya fields it. He's going to step on the bag. Ground out to 3 for the second out. That'll bring up the top of the order in Daisuke Nakashima. And I got to tell you, the Fighters are looking for their first 1-2-3 inning of the night. I don't want to jinx Segura here, but they have not had a 1-2-3 inning. Eagles have found ways to get base runners on in every single inning through the first 8. As this brings Daisuke Nakashima to the plate. Nakashima has been aboard 3 times today. He's got a pair of hits. He's reached on a fielder's choice. He's flown to right, and he has grounded out. Swings through a first pitch fastball for strike 1. Segura ready to go again, rocking into the windup and delivering. Fastball swung on and lifted foul into the seats down the third baseline, and the count is now 0-2. So no balls and 2 strikes. Again, the right-hander rocks and delivers. There's a fastball swung on, chopped softly back to the mound, fielded neatly. They throw to first, and that is going to retire Nakashima on a ground out, 1-3. And they go in order for the first time today. Do the Eagles, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left the board. Moving to the bottom of the 9th inning, your score is the Eagles 7 and the Fighters no score. It'll be the 2-3 hitter, 4 hitters in the order, Ishii, Arias, and Gunji to come to bat when we return. Only thing we got left is that over-under going to fall here in inning number 9. We'll be right back in just a few.
Hello, this is Eric Fox, formerly of the Oakland A's and Texas Rangers baseball teams. If you want to learn about Japanese baseball, see Coach Fred of Last Raps Baseball. If you want baseball instruction, see Coach Fred. If you want to learn about golf, do not go to Coach Fred. Fred, what kind of club is this?
At Last Raps Baseball, we know baseball. That's right, everybody. We know baseball, and it is going to be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters slated to come to bat here to bat in the 9th inning for the Fighters. That would be Ishii, Reyes, and Gunji. So we'll see what happens here. It might be that Reyes' day could be done. It looks like they may be emptying the bench here to have some other batters face the right-hander for the Eagles. They are going to the pen yet again. And this is going to be number 40. That would be Masahiro Ihara. So Masahiro Ihara, who has pitched pretty well this season. 27th appearance coming up. He's got a 1.29 ERA. He's going to be the 4th pitcher used by the Eagles here in this one. So Masahiro Ihara in the ball game, as Chihao Sung did his job, as his day is over. So that'll bring up Kazunori Ishii to the plate. Ishii has enjoyed the night tonight where everybody else has been struggling. He has 2 of the 3 Fighters hits, both singles. 2 for 3 tonight for Ishii as he takes a first pitch fastball off the outside corner, and the count is 1-0. You know you're locked in when you've got 2/3 of your team's hits. Here comes the 1-0 offering, but it's the first time that he has seen Ihara here, as that is a fastball swung on and it's tapped foul right into the feet of the catcher, and that runs the count to 1-1. As we mentioned, the only thing that is yet to fall would be that 7.5 that was earlier on for the over-under at this point. So here comes the 1-1 pitch as the right-hander delivers fastball taken on the outside corner for a called strike. Count goes to 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes as, again, the right-hander Ihara ready to go. And he kicks and delivers. Breaking ball swung on, grounded to the right side, fielded by Kobakata. Throws it in the ground to first. They're going to make the play on a ground out 4-3, but boy, that sure wasn't automatic there. Ground out 4-3 to retire Ishii for the first out of the inning. And that is going to supposed to bring up the designated hitter in Franmil Reyes, but I do believe that we are going to see ourselves a pinch hitter here in this situation. Curious to see what the big boss is going to roll out. Or is it? No, it looks like it is going to be Franmil Reyes. Didn't think we were going to see Reyes. Like he was getting comfortable down in the dugout. First pitch is a split-figure pitch swung on, grounded over to short, fielded by Murray Biashi, bobbles it, and then he throws it away. That's terrible. There is that Muniyama. I don't know if they've moved him or if they've moved Muribayashi over into that situation, but that's going to be an error charge to the shortstop. So he booted the ball. He had all kinds of time to field it. Then he picked it up and then he threw it up the foul line side of first base. We are going to have a pinch runner now coming in for Reyes. Good boy. It was Muniyama who is the shortstop. At first, I thought it was the third baseman, Muribayashi. I have to apologize there. So error charge to the shortstop to allow Reyes to reach base. That brings Yuya Gunji up to the plate. For Gunji, he is officially 0 for 2. He has drawn a walk in this one. Pitches a fastball that misses outside, and the count is quickly 1 ball and no strikes. So Ishii has 2 of the Fighters' hits tonight. The other belongs to Mizuno. And after that, it has been slim pickings the rest of the way. Nobody else has anything. Here's the 1-0. Fastball misses inside, and the count now goes to 2-0 on Gunji. Our friend M. Schroeder said Vegas called for over 7.5. Well, it's not done yet. Certainly the ground ball and the boot by the shortstop. The one thing you have to say is you got to think that as the pitch is a fastball that misses inside, the count's now 3-0. Or at least what's on my mind is the shutout. You don't want to lose the shutout. I always say that that's something that you want to try to seal the deal on. But now you got a problem. You got 3 balls and no strikes to Gunji. You got Kotaro Kiyomiya waiting on deck. This is the one thing I like about Japanese baseball is it's a 7-0 ball game, and there's hardly anybody who has left the stadium. That's the best part about this. There's a fastball taken for a called strike at the knees, and the count is 3-1. Score could be 14-0, and the crowd will stay and support right to the end. In North America, they would be exiting as quickly as possible. We used to say in Kansas City, they get there in the 3rd inning and leave in the 6th. 3-1 on the way. Fastball misses inside. It's going to be ball 4. So the Fighter fans and the Fighter faithful who have hung in here, which is pretty much everybody, will be rewarded potentially if they can get themselves a couple of more knocks here. They'll get themselves on the board, get themselves a few runs. And our friend M. Schroeder, who said it was a over 7.5, well, guess what? We got the pitching coach Ishii on his way to the mound. He's going to have a little discussion here with his pitcher, as he's got himself in a little bit of a pickle here with runners at first and second and 1 gone. So Ihara here trying to close out the deal. He needs 2 more outs to go. As we mentioned, this game dragging on for quite some time. So getting himself in the batter's box is the left-handed hitting Kotaro Kiyomiya. He is 0 for 3 tonight. He's grounded out twice and struck out, and has 3 trips to the plate. But everything starts anew here again, as the right-hander kicks and delivers. There's a fastball golfed into right field. This ball, is it going to get caught? Ogo catches it. They throw down to second. It looks like they're going to get themselves another out here. We're going to have to wait and see if that is going to do it. They've got 2 runners standing on second base. We're going to have to wait and see if that ball did drop in or if that's going to be an out. It looks like it's going to be a fielder's choice. So the manager, Mickey's, coming out because he wants an explanation as to what has just happened. So it doesn't look like he caught the ball. So what happened is very, very strange. I would have thought that the runner at second would have been forced off the base. But it looks like they may have tagged the preceding runner first. So we're going to get a look at this. So ball gets hit into right field, and it is short hop by the right fielder. So that's the right decision. He gets up, he throws to second. They step on the base at second base. The runner from second did not advance to third. So that is the right call. There it is right there. That ball is going to retire the runner going from first to second. So it'll end up being a fielder's choice. And the first pitch is a fastball that's half-heartedly swung on by Yuki Nomura. Count is 0-1. Very similar to the play that Christian Walker was involved with a week or so ago, as he had tagged the runner first, and then he had stepped on the bag for a double play at first base. That is erasing Gunji on the fielder's choice. It'll be 9-6 in the books for out number 2. Kind of messes Kiyomiya up. He doesn't get a hit for that. It's just a fielder's choice. As that pitch was fouled away, and the count is 0-2 to Nomura. So now that we got that all sorted out, here comes the 0-2 pitch as the right-hander ready to deliver. Breaking ball misses outside. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes, but it was a bizarre play. If they would have caught the ball, then they would have been hunting for the double play. But instead, they end up getting a fielder's choice at second base. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Spencer Howard back on the bench for the Eagles, in line to get another win for them here. There's the pitch. It's a fastball that misses outside, and the count goes to 2-2. We'll look to see what the update is. With the win tonight, Howard will go to 5-0 for the Golden Eagles on the year. So here comes the 2-2 pitch. Again, the right-hander holding himself to the set. Here's the pitch. Fastball swung on. This ball is lifted into deep left center field. Moving back onto the warning track with room to make the catch is the center fielder, Nakashima, and that is going to do it. A deep fly ball off the bat of Nomura, but he is going to be gone for the third out of the inning, and that is going to do it here for the Fighters in this one tonight. A 7-0 shutout for the Eagles. We'll come back and wrap this one up for you in just a couple moments, everybody. We appreciate you guys for jumping in tonight, whether you listen live on delay or you just decided to come in for the last inning. Great to have you sticking around with us tonight. We'll wrap this one up, and we'll give you the rundown from around the NPB, and then we'll call it a night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste. Hey, I hope you guys have been enjoying the game. My name is Hollis. I've got a YouTube channel called Another Hollis Build. I love baseball cards. I open up brand new product for you guys. I open up old stuff. I do breaks. I do auctions. All kinds of stuff concerning baseball. I'm Friars faithful, Padres to the end. I also love Garbage Pail Kids and my animals. I have a ton of animals. It's like a mini petting zoo here around my house. I also love my city. San Diego, baby. I'll take you all around the city and show you what's up. If you guys dig stuff like that, cruise on over and check it out. It's Another Hollis Build. If you dig it, subscribe. I'd really appreciate to have more follow me along on the journey. Hey, either way, you guys have a wonderful day or a beautiful, beautiful evening. No matter which one it is, make sure that you make it great, my friends. Big up Last Raps Baseball. Yeah, Freddie, let's go. One love and peace. Yeah, man.
Back, everybody. It is all Eagles here tonight in this one, as this game has come to a final. The other game that is also a final in the Pacific, it was a 1-0 victory for the Buffaloes over the Hawks at the PayPay Dome. So the Eagles unable to gain ground on the Buffaloes, and the Fighters unable to gain ground on the Hawks. Top of the 11th inning, it is a 2-2 game between the Bay Stars and the Tigers. That game is all tied up in that one there. Well, the rundown on this one here, the Eagles got things going early in the first inning. A leadoff double to begin the game by Daisuke Nakashima. After a flyout to right field by Murray Biashi, up-stepped Fumiya Kurikawa, and he deposited a 2-run homer into the right field bullpen area to give the Eagles an early 2-0 lead. In the second inning, they added to their lead. It was Rui Muniyama leading off with a single after there was a walk to Daichi Suzuki. Hikara Oda tried to bunt, and he popped it up for the first out of the inning. And then a walk to Atsuki Muto loaded the bases. Up stepped Daisuke Nakashima, and he grounded into a fielder's choice, but that brought home the run in Muniyama to make the score 3-0 at that point. The Eagles added to their lead in the fifth inning. It was Kurikawa leading off with a single. Then Luke Voigt singled. Then with one out, it was a walk to Rui Muniyama. And then up stepped pinch hitter Mikhail Franco for Daichi Suzuki at a sacrifice fly to left field. And that brought home a run to make the scoreline at that point 4-0. Eagles added to their lead in the sixth inning, another leadoff hit. As Daisuke Nakashima led off the inning, he was sacrificed over to second after Kurikawa was intentionally walked. Luke Voigt singled, and then a walk to Hideto Asamura with the bases loaded brought home the fifth run of the game. Eagles added two more in the eighth inning with one out, a single by Kurikawa. And then after a fly ball out by Luke Voigt, stepped Hideto Asamura, and he had a two-run homer into the bullpen area, and that made the scoreline 7-0, and that is where your final is in this one here tonight. 7 runs, 12 hits, 1 error by the Golden Eagles, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors by the Fighters. Our friend M. Schroeder says he sweated that under, had some size on it, thought he was cooked. Hopefully that is great news that we are good luck, and hopefully you guys will be back again on the weekend. To check our schedule, we will post it up. We'll be Friday night and Saturday night North American time for the Saturday and Sunday games. Hopefully you guys can join us, and hopefully you can make it in for that one there. Again, your final score is the Eagles 7 and the Fighters no score. Have a great night, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on the weekend, as it will be more NPB baseball to come. Have a great night, everybody.